Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to Texas A&M,
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
And they embody what the school is about. It's about getting into hard situations and getting ourselves out. It's about working hard. It's about doing amazing things.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
I'm not saying they're not going to do something about it, but just releasing a statement means so far you haven't done anything about it. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, the SEC and basically the SEC and Lane Kiffin.
Yeah. Hey, we don't want you doing this, but we can't do anything about it. So,
Well, they really can't, can they?
Yeah, they can.
What can they do?
They can say these are our rules. Like, our court's going to say that's not a 15-yard penalty anymore?
But hasn't the court already circumvented rules that the NCAA has?
Yeah, but I think you could say this is my rule for my conference, and you're going to have to take us to court, and we're going to win this. Because, can a court now say that wasn't a pass interference? Like, sorry, no, we're going to redo that. That's not a pass interference. Like, you have to have rules for the integrity of your game.
I'm 100% in agreement with you there. I just wonder if the SEC can circumvent what a judge is saying.
So there's a couple things at play here. Somebody in the YouTube chat.
I hope they can.
Somebody in the YouTube chat said, well, what's different between what A&M did with Jordan Pope, talking about Ole Miss, Daquan Wright going to LSU? There is a difference, by the way, because you're not supposed to transfer within the conference unless you go in the portal at the right time, okay? So you can transfer within your conference if you go in the portal at the right time. Jordan Pope did do that. Daquan Wright did not enter the portal. So technically, in a college football sense, his rights, if you will, should belong to Ole Miss, right? And he should not be able to go to LSU.
We're talking about the kid that played.
He's been on two NFL teams this summer.
Yeah,
didn't he have a sack the other day or something?
I'm annoyed with
not sack,
the
a tackle
idea
or
that,
a catch.
That, okay, you can go in, you can transfer if you're in this window and this you can't, and then you get to those what it used to be at the NCAA. Like, okay, what are the rules? Because there's just set a hard, fast rule, and I'm to the point now. I think what's going to happen is the SEC and the Big 12. In the not too distant future, which could mean a year, they cave a little bit on their position with the Save College Sports or Protect College Sports Act.
Yep.
And come to an agreement, and then they get the Congress. I guess it's Congress gives them the antitrust exemption. Therefore, they can set their own rules, don't have to worry about, a local judge trying to help the local team.
I know this is like, we live in this fantasy world, but all right, DJ Hicks, you want to go back to high school and play a season? It's the same thing. I mean, oh no, but he graduated. You went to the NFL. That's the equivalent of graduating in the college, in a football sense.
Yeah, the difference, and I know you're being facetious, of course, is that you get paid now. And now there's this thing like, are you going to be able to say that this university can't, that they can deny someone an opportunity to earn a wage?
Mm-hmm.
And again, you get to all these different tentacles of government and lawyers and things like that, and that's why we're in this problem, because we don't have hard, fast rules that the NCAA can enforce.
Now, obviously, this is TexAgs Live. I'm not doing the whole intro bit. But why does this affect A&M? Well, LSU might just add 1, 2, 3, 4 NFL level players to their roster, which was already supposed to be really good. And A&M has to play LSU. And oh, by the way, most predictions have A&M and LSU roughly around the same record. Mm-hmm. You could be competing with them not only on the field for a playoff spot. That's why it matters.
Yeah, but
and also I don't like it.
I think you'd agree. I think you'd agree. It doesn't matter if A&M's playing them. I'd still be against it. Mm-hmm. If A&M was doing it, I'd be against it. Now, that said, I get what Kiffin was saying. Hey, it's open to anybody, so we're going to take advantage of it.
Here's my problem with the whole Kiffin thing. Why does it like he is who he is, right? But I, as a head coach, I would have a hard time picking the players from Ole Miss. Also, I wouldn't have left my team in a playoff season where you could win the national championship. I wouldn't have done that. You know, dream job or not, the dream opportunity is winning a national championship. That's just me. I'm not him. I wouldn't leave my team high and dry and then take those players with me to the next place. I'd have a little more class.
Yeah, but every coach does that now. Yeah. Look at the guy from Iowa State that went to Penn State.
Yeah, he took his players with him. Yeah,
yeah.
But I think
Alex Golesh took his quarterback to Auburn.
But the LSU Ole Miss situation to me just felt worse aesthetically.
Well, it did, because most coaches would never leave a team that has a chance. All you're working for is to win a national championship. Yep. And just consider this. What if Lane Kiffin, and he probably is that much better of a coach and play caller than Pete Golding or whoever was Weiss?
Charlie Weiss Jr. Yep.
What if he is so much better that Lane Kiffin would have made a call or two that they would have won that close game against
very
Miami?
Possible.
And then that close game that Miami lost to Indiana, what if Lane Kiffin made that difference and Ole Miss could have been national champion? Most coaches, in fact, I would say every coach but one would have stayed in where he was to try it, because I'm in the playoff, I got a chance to win it all.
Yep.
And he's going to say, yeah, look, I'd love to come to LSU, but you're going to have to wait till after this run's over. But Lane Kiffin, of course, cares only about, remember, this is the guy that left Tennessee just for National Signing Day when that was a big deal.
Right.
And then had his coaches calling players on Tennessee paid for telephones to say, don't sign with Tennessee.
Right.
You know, we're not talking about the most ethical guy.
Well, here's the statement from the SEC. College athletes, not former professional athletes, have been at the heart of the Southeastern Conference. Individuals who choose to leave college athletics and sign professional playing contracts and compete professionally should not be permitted to return to college competition. Allowing that occur will blur the lines between college and professional sports, create significant competitive equity concerns, and reduce opportunities for high school and current college athletes. College sports are for college athletes. The current confusion around the national eligibility standards emphasizes the need to advance and protect college sports act.
And yet, when Bediako played three or four games at Alabama and then was ruled ineligible, they let the games in which he played stand, the results stand.
I'm going to...
So the SEC does a lot of things that I don't understand.
Look, I am a hypocrite, right? Like, I'm going to be honest, a sports hypocrite.
Okay.
Right? Like, if A&M tomorrow added somebody under the same structure, actually, I'm not, because I think we both were on this show when Jaden Warren came to A&M, the G Leaguer, and we were like, I don't like it, but if they're playing the game, we got to play the game too.
Right.
And that's what I mean by being a hypocrite. I don't like it, but I don't want to get beat because of it either.
Right. No, I agree with that. That's what I'm saying. I can understand Lane Kiffin's, his spin on it. Hey, if we don't take them, somebody else is going to. Mm-hmm. So, again, it goes back to the old line, don't hate the player, hate the game. Because the NCAA and its infinite stupidity has allowed this to occur.
But just think, like, if we could reach out to Olin Buchanan in 2019, not that long ago. Hey, athletes are going to be making, money more than pros, professional. They are pros, but more than pros in some cases. And also, NFL players can go back and forth between the NFL and college sports.
Yeah, I would have said,
Whatever, bro.
You know, that can't happen.
Oh, and Indiana is going to win a national championship with a coach who said, Google me.
Okay, I said, if we have to believe any of that's going to happen, I said, okay, maybe players are going to be going back and forth to the NFL and college football, but there's no way Indiana's going to win a national championship.
Oh, and by the way, A&M is going to lose to Appalachian State. I'm just saying, what bizarre world are we in? This is so stupid. Can we get some adults in the room? Or maybe get some kids in the room. Kids probably make more sense than the adults.
You ever, what's that old science fiction movie? Gosh, I can't think of what it's called, where they go back in time and the guy gets off the specific trail and he kills a butterfly without realizing it. And that loss of that one butterfly over the history of time, you know, moving forward, that when they go back to the future / present, like people's entire political stance, everything has changed. They're much more aggressive and all this, all because of one thing. This is kind of like what Mark Emmert has brought with all his, you know.
Yep.
You start off the day, they say Emmert is the president, and all the things that happened after that has brought us to this point.
Yeah. By the way.
LSU guy, by the way, Mark Emmert.
That's right. This is TexAgs Live, ladies and gentlemen. We are presented by who?
David Gardner's Jewelers.
We're in the where?
We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio.
This hour is the what?
The Go Hour.
Presented by the who?
Warehouse of CC Creations.
Currently, we're hanging out in an area that we call the
Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
Make that money, make that paper. If you want to be a part of the conversation, there are a couple different ways you can do it. One way is to call us on the
Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline.
That number is
979-693-1150.
All right. And if you wanted to, I don't know, text the show with your thumbs,
yeah,
what would you do?
I would text that same number, except I would call it the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy PPE text line.
Visit drinkcatalyst.com and buy any 12-pack and get the second 12-pack free by using the code TexAgs at checkout to get that offer.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go around the room.
Let's
go left to right. Let's go behind the glass. We talked to Jury Duty's best, Nick Savage. Nick, good morning.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
How are you?
I'm great. So, we're always talking about, or we've been talking about with these scenarios, what's it going to take for the conference to, come out and say that this player's ineligible? That's actually happened in the Patriot League. I don't know if y'all have talked about this, but the Patriot League came out and banned Villanova's quarterback, Pat McQuaid is his name. He was given one of these temporary restraining orders that gave him eligibility for this year. I believe he was arguing with the COVID year, whatnot. But the Patriot League came out and said, this player's ineligible, and if y'all play him, you will forfeit the game. I don't know if Villanova has taken any further steps to, sue, and maybe they overturn it. But that has happened this season in college football. This came out a few days ago. I don't know if it had been talked about yet or if y'all talked about it yesterday, but maybe we'll see it in the SEC.
I got a pretty good idea that the Patriot League NIL's not paying as much, and the SEC won't. He just said that the Patriot League said if you play this guy, you're going to forfeit every game he plays in. And we've already seen last basketball season, like I was just alluding to previously, the SEC's not going to do that.
Yeah.
They might. The possible difference is it was Alabama, and we all know the SEC is a little bit partial to Alabama.
Yeah, and I also have a hard time with the fact that the SEC has lost 3 straight. They haven't won a national championship 3 straight times in football. If the SEC said, no, you can't go to another SEC team, and Wright goes, all right, I'm going to go to Ohio State, and they're going to go help Ohio State. Like, I don't think they want to see that either.
Yeah.
And Ryan Day already said he would play the game. What does he say? I have his quote right here. He says, on returning from college football, if there are teams that have some players out there who are cut from an NFL roster that are going to be on other teams, we have to at least consider it and look at it. Do I like anything about it? Absolutely not. But we got to do what's right for Ohio State. And that's pretty much what everybody's got to do. That's the thinking.
Yeah, what gets me about that is, and I get it, you don't want to be Dabo Swinney and, die on a hill. I'm going to stand on my principles and then fall on your knees. But coaches will say, this is wrong. I'm against it. this is against everything that college football or college sports is supposed to be.
But who's available?
But I got to get in. But
wait, he's a 5-star?
Who's going to take a stand and say, no, I'm not going to. They won't.
I would have a lot of respect for Greg Sankey if tomorrow, because I know they're supposed to meet over the next couple of days. They said, we're not going to allow it. You're going to forfeit games that play if you play them. But then do you have to do that for basketball too?
Yes, you should do it for everybody.
They're not going to do it then. Because LSU's whole basketball roster is that way. They're not going to do it. It's over. College football, as we know it, or college athletics as we know it, done. I'll still watch it. Still love it. Stupid.
It's, like I said, they're going to have to crack and agree to something that Congress put together for, and then to get the antitrust, and then you can set your own rules, and no judges are going to come in, and again, local judges are going to come in and help. Hey, you think I get some more votes by helping LSU win some more games?
By the way, Aggies gather at the Angry Elephant, and we're going to go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Natalie Martin, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. And all I have to say is that I hope that everyone has their cameras rolling. I don't know about you, but I love a good sports documentary, a Hard Knocks, a quarterback, the receiver on Netflix. And there better be some good documentation of this era of college sports, specifically football, because we know this is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
On that note, somebody in the comments had an interesting take that I think's worth discussing. He said, I'd rather see Sorsby play than a player that couldn't make it in the NFL and came back to college. What do we think?
I feel like in sports we got to get up in arms about something. I still didn't like the idea of Sorsby playing, but I don't know. Just how about we just be smart about everything? We don't have to be selective.
You're talking about sports of higher education.
Yeah.
Be smart? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Lower education sometimes. What else do you have for us, Natalie?
By the way, what do you think Sorsby's taking on the under over for Texas Tech?
Yeah, I think he's taking on. Well, if they get what's his name, Castellanos, he might take the over.
I probably would too.
So on the same back to the Lane Kiffin of it all.
Yep.
So Xavier Harris, the D lineman who was just announced to be going to LSU
and
this
he's
year.
the one who had a sack, I think, in a preseason game. I think
So ironically, whenever the whole Kiffin exit drama was happening, he had some stuff to say about Lane Kiffin in the media. And now a few months later, he's going to be playing under him again.
You know why?
He said that Lane Kiffin was trying to be an announcer, trying to be a troll, and that Ole Miss were going to troll him back. And he was just trying to steal their shine. That's all he was trying to do.
And
looks
now
like they're going to be shining together.
Yeah, they'll be shining together.
That's because money talks and BS walks.
That's the case. Hey, OB, let's hit a break because we got a couple things to get into in the next segment. We got to do 25 and 25.
Okay.
We got number 4. Okay. And then we got to do our performance of the week. Okay. TKO Equipment Knockout Performer of the Week. And then we got Charean the Dream.
Okay.
So I got all that to get into.
Yeah.
Right now, though, do you think if we took Sankey out to 1775, all right? And we're like, dude, you just have made bad decision after bad decision. You allowed the communists down the road to come join the SEC, and now you're going to allow Lane Kiffin to get whatever player he wants. Let's talk some sense into you.
Yeah, well, I think if we took Greg Sankey to 1775, he'd order a salad. I mean, because these bad decisions, you could have the succulent, that masterful succulent brisket.
That masterful succulent, yeah.
He could have those amazing pork ribs.
Oh, those are amazing.
That tasty turkey.
Oh, so tasty.
That incredible jalapeno cheese sausage. I think he'd order a salad. And say, now, wait a minute. You got the pulled pork. If I'm going to have a salad. How about some queso mac and cheese? That sounds really good. But Sankey, anybody else in the world say, hey, load me up. Sankey's probably, let's have a salad. And he probably wouldn't even, he'd probably want one with just, one of those girl salads with arugula and apples and
what would Lane Kiffin order?
Lane Kiffin would order everything and then probably steal it, walk out back without paying.
Olin's got it. He'll pay for it. It is 1775, the website, 1775txbbq.com. The number, 979-492-6241. It is 1775, and
It's good.
Hey everyone, David Nuno here of TexAgs Live. I want to introduce you to the team at Holistic Planning. Got Jason Barber here, Taylor Pankratz, and also Paul Meredith. Jason, I want to start off with you. What really sets Holistic Planning apart from the others?
Yeah, so what makes us different is most financial advisors stop at investment management. On the other hand, Holistic Planning, we manage investments, taxes, and estate planning all on one team, all underneath one roof.
Now, Taylor, when everything is coordinated like that, it really helps the bottom line, doesn't it?
It really does. When your investments and taxes are working together, you stop leaving money on the table and keep more of what's yours.
Paul, Holistic Planning is trying to expand as well.
That's true. We just opened our Houston office, and we're looking for people who feel like their advisor isn't seeing the full picture, because that's exactly what we fix.
And Jason, there's other opportunities beyond that.
Definitely. If you're a financial advisor and you want to join the Holistic Planning team, we're looking to add 50 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. So check out holisticplanning.com/advisors.
All right, so if you want a team that actually coordinates everything, go to holisticplanning.com. Aggies, this one is worth it. Hey everyone, Dave. So I didn't hear any music on my side.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, maybe it's the volume. Turn it up. No, it's still, I hear nothing. And then Nick goes, rah, 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 rah. And I just heard yelling in my ears, and I bursted an eardrum. So if you see blood coming out of my ears, it's not because A&M's struggling on the field. It's because Nick broke my eardrum. Welcome into TexAgs Live. Segment number 2 of hour number 1, we call it the Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. All right, Olin Buchanan, time
CC, senor.
for 25 and 25, presented by Paragon Financial Advisors, an Aggie-owned, independent fee-only fiduciary serving families and business owners nationwide. Visit paragon-adv.com. Do you know who number 4 is?
I have no idea.
All right. I'm not going to do what I do with Billy with hints. I'll just say DJ Jazzy Jeff. Or just DJ Hicks.
DJ Hicks.
We talked about him a lot.
Yeah,
Yesterday could have been his day, because we both came away from Saturday's practice thinking this guy's playing a different sport than everybody else. He is a man out there.
Like we said this year or yesterday, I think this is the year that he's been a good player.
Yep.
But I think this is the year, or at least he's showing signs that this is the year that he emerges. He goes from being a good player to a great player. I compared him potentially to guys like Nick Fairley at Auburn back in 15, 20 years ago, or Quentin Williams at Alabama. That guys that were around.
Yep.
They were known locally as players, but one year they came out and just burst onto the scene and became dominant players. And maybe we're going to see that from DJ Hicks. If what we saw on Saturday is any indication, then that's what's going to happen. Look, he was the number 1 rated defensive tackle prospect in the country. In 2023? 5-star guy. Everybody wanted Oklahoma. Remember the guy, media up Oklahoma was throwing a hissy fit because he didn't go there, and he's just, all the tools are there. He's big, he's explosive, he's physical, he's got a nasty streak. I watched a sack he had last night against LSU where he just abused the guard. And maybe it all comes together this year, and he has that monstrous season that we all know and are hoping for. We know it's possible and are hoping for.
Yeah, he's the one that Billy brings up a lot, that NFL scouts bring up to him all the time.
Why wouldn't you?
And if he has the kind of season we think he could have, does he become a first rounder potentially? He could be a day 1, day 2 guy, right? He's got all the potential in the world. He is playing with a different chip, a different level of intensity. And this is a guy he played quite a bit last year. Sometimes we forget that. He played what do you have, 3 sacks last year?
3 sacks, the most of any interior lineman. And that's why sharing time with Tyler Onyedem and Albert Regis. He's explosive. I've said it before. I really believe this. I wonder what Billy would say to this, because sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. I think he could be what Justin Madubuike was in his final. If he has that year, he could be. Remember Justin Madubuike's final year, man. I think it was his final year. I remember him playing Clemson, our first game, and he, storms through and gets a sack, and it kind of sets the tone of the way that game was going to go. And I can remember Madubuike against Georgia, just throwing offensive linemen around, and making tackles in the backfield. DJ Hicks could be that guy.
He had 6.5 tackles for loss last year to go along with the 2 tackles for loss at Notre Dame.
6.5 tackles for loss.
Yeah. It's a good year.
For an interior lineman?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. And by the way, he doesn't have to replace anybody. He just has to be the best version of himself. And we've been talking about that day coming. That day is here.
Yeah, it's time. It's his time. His performance this year will dictate how he's taken in the draft. So, that's a big, I'm sure, motivational factor for him. I think what's important is one thing that he may have, but he may not, that the guys had last year, like Onyedem had Regis next to him. Regis had Onyedem, or DJ Hicks.
Yeah.
Who's going to be that guy playing, opposite, playing next to him, and is that guy going to occupy blockers too? That they don't just say, okay, we're going to double team Hicks on every play.
Well, I think C.J. Mims has had a nice camp. Billy has brought up Sam Mpemba on a couple of different occasions.
But isn't he an end? Or have they moved him inside?
I think he's causing chaos everywhere.
Okay.
But yes, he is more of an end. Who else did Billy talk about on the line yesterday? I'm trying to think. Angel McCollum, excuse me. Angel McCollum he talked about, yeah.
And I remember Damian Sanford was talking about McCollum when we were at SEC Media Days.
Right.
When players gush about another player, especially a new one, I'm thinking, okay, that kind of piques my ears, right? My interest. So, look, I think they're fine, but man, they were really good at interior defensive tackle last year. So maybe there's not as much depth. Maybe there's just as much depth. Maybe there's more. I don't know. But I know I feel like I know what I've got with TJ Higgs, and it's like I'm playing poker and I got an ace.
Hey, let's do the Knockout Performer of the Week, brought to you by TKO Equipment. Rent, sell, lease, or rent to buy TKO Equipment, which is your trusted source for used and heavy equipment. Obi, I'm just going to do a couple of them, unless you have somebody.
Oh, didn't we talk about earlier this week that cousin Tiffany went out and had a couple of goals?
You're talking about Trinity Buchanan?
Yeah, I said actually my niece is Tiffany Buchanan.
Right.
Yes, I meant Trinity, cousin Trinity.
Yeah, so Trinity Buchanan so far on the season has 5 goals in 4 games.
You know, I'm also partial to her. You know, I don't know if you know this. I'm Olin Buchanan the third. Trinity Buchanan third. Trinity, you know, we
That's right,
that going, not just okay. But anyway, go ahead and tell us more about Trinity.
So against Sam Houston, she had 2 goals and assists, and so did the freshman Ireland Churchill. 3 goals on the year.
I thought he was English.
No, it's a lady. And you're talking about Winston?
Yeah. I get confused.
Are you a big Winston Churchill fan?
Yeah, why wouldn't I be?
Well, you got to watch Peaky Blinders. He makes appearances. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought he died and he's doing movies.
He's a great actor.
But Ireland Churchill, I mean, she's scoring goals.
She's a freshman with already 3 goals. So I put those 2 soccer players. And moving forward, we'll have some soccer, we'll have some volleyball, we'll have some football. We'll have a lot to get into here on the TKO Knockout Performer of the Week.
Yeah, a lot more.
And we'll have football games this weekend, potentially to pick from, if we care.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch because I need football.
Yeah, I would be interested to watch TCU in North Carolina playing where?
Dublin.
Which is where?
Ireland.
And A&M has a freshman named who?
Churchland.
Ireland Churchill.
Yeah,
okay.
Churchland, yeah.
So everything's connected today.
I said Churchland. What did I mix
Well,
the 2?
you're talking about me now. See, it's all connected.
It's all connected.
But yeah, I'm going to be interested in that game because remember how all the fanfare leading up to that game last year, and then TCU just beat the dog snot out of them.
That was good. Let's talk Rollo Insurance.
Can I read a Pete Thamel tweet real quick?
Oh, by all means.
This is tweeted just a minute ago. Sources: the Big Ten is set to pass a rule today that doesn't allow players to return from the NFL and play for a Big Ten school. Anyone who has declared for the NFL draft and did not withdraw, appeared on an NFL roster, or signed a contract with a pro league cannot be on a Big Ten roster.
I like that. SEC needs to follow.
Yeah. Heck yeah. I mean, that's what the SEC should have said.
Mm-hmm.
We are working on ratifying our rule, whatever. And this is going to be the case. This is what we've always said. You're not allowed. They had the stones.
But then I do wonder if somebody's going to get a lawyer that's going to challenge it and how it's going to go.
But then, at least in that case,
you're making a stand.
The conference is trying. So Tony Petitti, congratulations on making the right call.
I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
He probably has Rollo Insurance. He's probably a bright guy.
If he had Rollo Insurance, I would think he'd be brilliant.
He's brilliant. Why do I have bad accents? Anyway, headquartered right here in College Station on Highway 6. We're talking about the Rollo Insurance Group. They share in our community values. They're an independent agency that works for you, not their shareholders. Their team does provide objective consultation across all insurance lines available in Texas and beyond. Join thousands of Aggies who trust Rollo Insurance with protecting what matters most. When local matters hit home, like severe weather or regional economic shifts, Rollo agents understand the impact firsthand because they want to live here too. Their independence means they can recommend solutions from dozens of carriers based on what's best for you, not what is most profitable for them. And that's why so many local families and businesses make Rollo their first call. The difference is real. Call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO. Or go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. And we're back on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. I got an idea.
Let's hear it.
Well, what do you like?
Something stupid that I was thinking, but
so everybody talks about we need a college football commissioner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
But I think the college football commissioner needs a boss. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That boss would be the commissioner of all football, NFL and college, and that person should be Charean Williams of Pro Football Talk, and of course the Aggie Hall of Famer, because she's got common sense. She knows things. She's smart, and she gets it. And she's on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Charean, you up for the job?
I don't think I would want that job, would you?
I mean, I think I'd make better decisions.
Well, no doubt. No doubt about that. You just, like you said, you got to have common sense. I think I have common sense. So I think I could probably do the job.
I've not seen Mike Florio and your team at Pro Football talk about college football as much as I have this offseason because
oh my gosh,
it's the lines are bleeding, right? Like Pro Football Talk could be Pro College Football Talk.
Oh my gosh, we joke about it because we have talked so much about college football and players going back to college after being cut in the NFL. It's crazy. It's just nuts where we are right now, and I don't think this is what anyone envisioned. And I don't know how you get it back under control. Like they've just, it's gone out of control. And I don't, what's next? Are NFL players who've actually played in games going to return to college football? I maybe, like if they still have eligibility left, maybe. Who's to say no? The way things have gone, the whole thing is just like nuts to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you. Like Johnny Manziel would still have, Mike Evans would still have 2 years of eligibility.
We could maybe use him.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know. The receivers are already pretty good. Hey, how concerned do you think the NFL teams are about all this and the idea that, hey, I might spend a second-round draft choice or a third-round draft choice on a guy that says, you know what? Or a fourth-round pick. And I thought I was going to be a first or second round pick. I'm a quarterback. I fell to the fourth round. Hey, I can make as much, if not more money, $3 million quarterbacking in college. Or do you think the NFL is too worried about players that get drafted not staying around? You invest a draft pick in them and then they go back to college.
There is no doubt they're concerned, and there's an easy fix to that, Olin. So right now, the way it is, so say a guy's drafted in the fourth round and goes to training camp, or whether he does or doesn't, say even signs the contract, whatever. Fourth round draft pick, didn't think I was going to get, I thought I was going to get drafted higher than that. I'll go back to college. I'll make more money in college than I would make in the NFL. I'm going to go back to college. Then he goes back into the draft the next year. That's the way it works right now. But all you have to do, the only thing you have to do if you're the NFL, again, common sense, you just change that rule. You make it like the baseball rule. And if a player's drafted in the fourth round by Carolina, then Carolina owns their rights forever. Just like the A's currently own Kyler Murray's rights forever if he decided to go back to baseball. So, and you also make it where they're slotted into last year's slot, money-wise, instead of what the slot would be for the next year. So in other words, he's getting what he's getting whenever he's getting it. So if he wants to go back and make a little bit more money, when he comes back, he's still going to make what he would have made otherwise. And I think at that point, guys go, well, what's the point? Because I get 1 year of service toward free agency, and I'm making this salary, and the salary will go up the second year. So at that point, I think you stop that. But, who knows? Like if a quarterback we've seen a lot of quarterbacks go fourth, fifth, sixth round. Some of those quarterbacks would probably make enough that that if they went back to college that it wouldn't matter when they came back to the NFL. So, it's a huge concern for the NFL about where this is headed, where college football is headed.
Yeah, you know what? What would have Johnny Manziel? Because we throw around $3 million. Still, in some places, it might end up being more. Somebody get more than that. What if Johnny Manziel thinking he's going to be one of the really high guys that falls all the way to the 22nd pick? What do you think Johnny Manziel would have been able to get from A&M had the rules been the same then? Say, hey, y'all come back if. How many of the the big wigs are going to get together and say, I'll toss in me,
Yeah, but we'll pay him $10 million to come back. At that point, it's worth it for him to go back to school, finish out his eligibility, and then go back and be a Browns 22nd over. No matter what the salary is, like he's made more than he would have made in the NFL or what he made in the NFL in his career. There's no question that would happen. And the way it's set up now, it doesn't just have to be A&M. You have multiple schools bidding against them. What if Nike comes in and says, "Hey, we'll pay you $20 million to come to Oregon"?
Yeah, you were committed here once.
It's an open season. Like there's no controls anywhere. So yes, he would have made gazillions more than what he made if the current system was the way it is now. If it was back then.
Charean, Ross Dellinger reporting, along with Pete Thamel, that the Big Ten is going to vote on rules to not allow pro to come back, and the SEC is expected to consider that during this week's meetings. So there is a chance that the SEC won't allow it. And props to the Big Ten for being the first to say that they won't allow it.
Yeah, and there's got to be some integrity in this. We talked about common sense, integrity, all those things. I mean, if you go to camp with an NFL team, should you be able to go back to college? I think my rule is always if 99% of the people in a bar would say something, then that's the way it should be. I think 99% of people in a bar would say, if you go into training camp with an NFL team, you should not be allowed to go back to college. Even if it's to my school, you should not be able to go back to college. You've established that you're a pro athlete. You've been paid. They have been paid. They've been paid per diems. They've been paid bonus money, all of those things. And they got to pay all that back, by the way. Mm-hmm. They got to pay the bonus money back. But, it's ridiculous to me that we are where we are, and it is a common sense thing.
Charean, I don't love this topic. In fact, I don't like it, but I feel like the need to talk about it with you and probably with John Harris tomorrow. Deshaun Watson named the starter of the Browns. I think that is a big middle finger to the Cleveland fans. And it's not like, and Shedeur Sanders, who I know has been controversial as well, at least the guy smiles and is thankful for being there. And I think the competition was close, right? So what did you think of the Browns making Deshaun Watson the starter?
Well, it's not surprised because I thought Deshaun Watson would be the starter all along, no matter how he played, no matter how Shedeur played. I just thought they would go with Deshaun Watson. They made a huge mistake signing him to what they signed him to with that contract. And by the way, he's got a huge cap hits the next couple of years for the Browns. It's going to weigh them down. It's an albatross on them. I think they just want to see if they can get their money's worth. Now, I don't think he's going to be very good, and I think Shedeur ends up playing early in the season. But, yeah, think about this. I think it's their second week. Their game is against Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. What if they get blown out in that game? They're 0-2, and they come home for their season opener. Their season opener is week 3. Can you play Deshaun in that game? I don't think so. I think it will be beyond ugly. It'll be one of the ugliest. I want to watch because it's must-see TV. If they're blown out by Baker Mayfield, their former quarterback in the Bucs, and they're coming home for their season opener, Deshaun Watson's your quarterback, that's a train wreck. So I'm saying by week 3, I think Shedeur could be the starter based on what their schedule is and how bad I think they're going to be. Now, if they go win one of those games, then all bets are off. It's probably going to be Deshaun, and the fans are still going to be livid at Deshaun, and it's still going to be ugly, but I don't think it'd be quite as ugly as if they start out at 0-2 with a blowout loss to Baker.
I think if the competition was really that close, and Shedeur Sanders, if it's just almost a coin toss, and you go with, I think that sends a really bad message to the Browns fan base.
That was well played.
Yeah, it doesn't seem a meritocracy, does it? And Shedeur is going to be there a lot longer than Deshaun's going to be there, and you would think they would want to see what they have in Shedeur, and I think they will at some point, with Todd Monken as his coach. to decide what do we need to do after this year. Like, and the other thing is Dylan Gabriel. You used a third-round draft pick on Dylan Gabriel. He's a non-fact. Like, we're not even mentioning Dylan Gabriel's name. Like, talk about another wasted draft pick on a quarterback. So this is a franchise that doesn't know where it's headed or what it wants to do, and really doesn't know what it has in Shedeur. He made the Pro Bowl last season. Shouldn't have, but he did. Had more interceptions than touchdowns. But, he showed some good things. I think he deserves a chance to go out there and you see what you have in him. And does he have a chance to be your long-term quarterback? I don't think they know that yet, and they're certainly not going to find that out with him sitting on the bench.
Charean, great stuff. We appreciate your time as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Charean Williams, Pro Football Talk, on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. Final segment of the Go Hour right now from East Texas to DFW, from Houston to the Hill Country, and right here in Bryan College Station. You've got Guarantee Bank and Trust. 33 great locations in Texas, and every single one of them operates the same way. Local decisions, local people, local heart. That's how they roll there. And that's rare, especially with banks these days. So don't forget that when you go there, it is going to be a community bank. And you want to feel the vibes of a community bank because everybody makes the decisions right there. That's what they do. They're committed to Texas, and they've been in the area since 1913. So over a century of experience helping Texans. And they want to grow stronger for their community, not just a tagline. That's how they decide what to fund, how to support it, and where to show up. Financial education, home ownership, you name it. Come experience a true Texas community bank. Go see Brandon Sears and the team at Guarantee Bank and Trust or visit gnty.com. That is gnty.com. Guarantee Bank and Trust, a division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Relationships are built through shared experiences. A conversation before kickoff. A weekend with clients. Time spent together. That's the idea behind Game Day Suites Aggieland. Private, individually owned spaces designed for hosting, gathering, and doing business in the heart of Aggieland. Just minutes from Kyle Field. Purpose-built for connection. Designed for Aggies. Game Day Suites. A place to gather. A place to connect. A place to belong.
We're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, do you mind if I take a second just to talk about something cool?
Of course not.
It's actually not cool at all. In fact, everyone's going to change the station.
What is it?
But I went back to MMA yesterday for the first time in 100 days.
Because your
Brazos
finger's
Valley
healed?
MMA. Yeah. No, I mean, would you say that's healed?
It looks still
healed-ish.
It's getting there.
It's getting there. But it was my first time back in over 100 days. And I went to the a class that was probably below my skills.
Okay.
Not that there's many classes above my skills, to be honest. But it was the right speed for my day back. So shout out to them. They have an event coming up on September 26th. It's a self-defense class, free for women, September 26th, which is what, LSU weekend, I believe. So if you're not going to Baton Rouge, you want a free self-defense class for women, go to BVMMA, and they'll hook you up. It's good stuff. But I was happy to roll on the mat for the first time in a while and not get my butt kicked, which was nice.
Good. Glad
you should go to class with me.
Well, I would get by. I'm almost 65 years old.
There's 65-year-olds there. That's who I go hunt for. That's who I want to roll with. This is the best. Actually, the 65-year-olds that go there are all killers. They would kill us all.
Yeah, because they've probably been doing it for decades, right?
Joe Cirillo would destroy us all. So, yeah, I think you should try it. It's great.
I would encourage my wife to do that women's defense class.
She already knows how, though.
She carries.
You should let the world know.
That's her idea of
they'll start some, there won't be none. Right? So, are you a little more encouraged, OB? Little more encouraged that the SEC, based on what the Big Ten did, is going to make the right decision?
Yeah, a little more. It'll be, if they do, it'll be interesting to hear the reaction coming out of Louisiana. I'll be all for it.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work, right? Because court cases are going to be involved. But do the right thing. You shouldn't do something based on what you think others are going to do. You should just do the right thing.
I agree. Lane. I mean, that's exactly what you just said goes counter to the actual statement. Now, Moscona and all the guys over there are talking about how, no, that is the right thing. So the right thing depends on your perspective.
Absolutely. And I don't, I was listening to Peter Burns yesterday's show this morning, and LSU guy, he also was like, well, but hey, what about, I'm just telling you, it doesn't sit right with me. If it helped A&M, can I make a case for it? Of course, but I'm just being very honest with you. I didn't like it with Jaden Warren. I don't like it now. Bryson Warren? Yeah, sorry. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
Right. And again, that's up to the people that run college athletics to take a stand and see if it'll hold up and if it's challenged.
Something tells me Connor O'Gara is going to agree with our take on this. I think most of the world, if you're not in Baton Rouge, probably agree with it. Just like when you were in Lubbock, I bet you Texas Tech agrees now, right? America.
I bet you they're taking odds on whether or not they're going to be able to keep those.
That would be Indiana or Cincinnati too, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, OB. All right, when we come back on TexAgs Live, Connor O'Gara. We'll talk with Connor. After that, Jamie Morrison and Kay Nagley. Be a fun 9 o'clock hour. You're listening to TexAgs Live. We're back. It is TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Garner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Bucky's Catering and Bartending Hotline, joined with our good friend and the weekly visit from Connor O'Gara, the OG Kickoff, and, of course, of Next Round Live, and a TexAgs contributor. Connor, what's up, buddy?
Nuno, doing well, man. I do wonder, if I just found the right judge, found, a little bit of extra help on the side, because, my 5'9" frame is probably not going to do it for me. But, what kind of rules could I break to be able to go and play college football again? Well, for me, for the first time. But, just feels like it's a kind of open season. Anybody can do so. So why not a 36-year-old washed up former fullback / strong safety?
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, because I actually mentioned to Olin, and I don't think this is going to happen, but, bro, we live in we live in this bizarro world where, like, anything can happen. Like, all right, I didn't like that pass interference call. I'm going to go to court. I'm going to have that game washed out. We shouldn't have lost, whatever it may be. Like, you can go to court for anything and find a judge that'll do anything you want, especially in your town.
Yeah, this is the type of thing that collective bargaining would essentially work against. There's a reason why you don't just have local judges in the NFL and professional sports leagues, but we're not there yet. Where we are is probably one step away from an NFL draft bust who has already played in actual NFL games, not even just preseason games, saying, you know what, I went to the wrong situation. I'm going to go back to college. I got another year of eligibility. I'm going to find a judge that's just going to give me what I want. And because there's enough political power in a given state to make these sort of things happen, they'll just do it. That's where we're at, where I don't think anybody in their right mind 10 years ago could have forecasted this. And if you're trying to figure out, like, why does it feel like college football and college sports in general right now are the wild, wild west, all you need to know is that we have situations like what we're seeing playing out in real time with this whole Daquan Wright situation, where he's trying to come back after playing in NFL preseason games and, like, is looking like he's going to play for LSU unless the SEC actually stands up for itself and follows through with its words. Oh, and we also at the same time have Arian Carter, the former NFL draft entry, because he never entered the NFL draft. He is the current Tennessee captain who is suspended for the first 2 games of the season because he accepted a $427 flight for a pre-draft facility, money that he paid back. And we have guys that have already been paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to the NFL who are somehow allowed to come back to college. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Look, Greg Sankey has always been very kind to me when I talk to him, and I think a lot of the decisions he makes I like a lot. Some I don't. And I think you can probably figure out the one I don't like the most. Anyway, I did not like yesterday's statement. Now, maybe that's all he could have said, because they got to, but I didn't. I wanted it to be more, hey, we don't think this should happen, and this is the steps we're going to take, a little bit more emphatic. It sounds like the Big Ten is moving that direction, and maybe the SEC as well, if we believe all these reports from Ross Dellinger and those others, Pete Thamel as well.
They say in the SEC that it just means more. I read that statement, got to the last line where I saw the SEC, after taking this hard stance against NFL players playing college football, I saw the SEC say, well, this is why we need the Protect College Sports Act to go through and why we need Congress. And I thought, it just means nothing. That statement meant nothing, okay? And until you actually are willing to come out, as the Big Ten very recently is done in the last 15 minutes here, as Ross Dellinger is reporting, ACC making an actual stance preventing NFL players from coming back playing college, it doesn't mean anything. It's just words. And you could see right through all this. You go, well, the SEC is looking at this going, well, why do we want the lawsuits? Let the NCAA have the lawsuits, not us. The SEC is the one that has the intra-conference transfer rule that's not even willing to enforce right now because it's so afraid of lawsuits. And that's the flaw in all of this, is that even the SEC is coming out powerless at a time in which you just need a voice of reason. You just need someone in the room to step up and go, hey guys, what are we doing? None of this makes any sense whatsoever. What do you mean this is what college football can do? And yeah, maybe Lane Kiffin is right in saying that, if I didn't do this, somebody else will, and somebody else will be recruiting these guys. But it's still happening. And it doesn't mean that we should just be like, well, you know what? This is just normal. This is just standard stuff. No, these are bizarre times that we're living in.
All right, let's play this out for a second. So let's say the SEC does change its mind or says this is our rule, just like the Big Ten. You had a professional contract, you can't. First off, you're not supposed to transfer within the conference, and you already acknowledged that. What about the basketball players? the G Leaguers, all the guys that LSU has on their basketball roster and, other programs have tried to do. What about, are those guys that have already been practicing and been around the program for a while going to be allowed? Is it just a football thing? What do you think? What are the different phases that this could go?
Yeah, I think those guys would be unable to play as well. And I don't know that for certainty. You see beat reporters that are even who are as plugged in as anybody going, well, I guess that means this guy might be eligible, but oh no, he had a temporary restraining order in the state, so he's good, but this guy didn't, so he's not good. I don't know, man. I have no idea with all of this stuff. I'll tell it to you straight. I would tend to think that would be bad news bears for those guys, and Lord knows it probably should be. But the notion that the Protect College Sports Act is all of a sudden going to do away with these lawsuits is just ridiculous. It's not. What the Protect College Sports Act doesn't have in there is a CBA. And until we get to a place where there is an actual CBA that covers college athletes, or whatever you want to call them these days, and semi-pro athletes, that's what they are, then we're going to be in a really similar place, just with adults having more of an idea of what's legal and what's not. But I think we're still going to see cases like this. So, yeah, man, to answer your question, I don't have an answer to your question. And I don't think anybody really does. And they're just going to play by whatever rules benefit them the most until they're told that they can't. That's really all you need to know about all this.
Connor, again, this is Bizarro World. This is crazy talk. If you would have told us this 6 years ago, I don't think anybody would believe that this would be happening, but it's happening. So I'm going to present you a situation that in my head can't happen, right? But are we going to start seeing guys going back to high school? Theoretically, you already graduated, right? But I'm just saying, crazy times mean crazy things happen. I believe there's 40 states in the United States that high school kids can make NIL or something like that. There's a huge number. Are we going to start seeing things like this?
I don't think go back to high school. The Daquan Wright situation, if you just want to look at it from a financial standpoint, the reporting was that he had $115,000 in signing bonuses that he would in theory have to pay back, as a result of going back to college. And, if you kind of look at what he could make being a practice squad player, maybe it's a couple $100,000 or something like that. If he's making between $400 and $500K to go to LSU and, oh, by the way, kind of be a backup tight end because LSU returns the best tight end in college football and Trey'Dez Green, who's a preseason All-American, and yeah, they could play 12 personnel, but nonetheless, not playing an every down type role in college football, but still make that type of money. And he's going, wait a minute, I can make twice as much by going back to college. You wouldn't get that going back to high school with some of these guys, with some of the money that they're promised coming out and some of the money that's being thrown at high school recruits. I don't think you would have that same sort of financial motivation, whereas you could actually see some of the financial benefits of these guys going from the NFL back to college. If it means, NIL money versus practice squad money, that's where there would be a discrepancy. But it's something that you at least have to think about in this day and age. If there's probably a scenario that I'm not even accounting for, in which some of these, IMG Academy type schools would try and pull those types of strings and, I don't know, try and make it work. But I just can't fathom being like, oh yeah, I've made it to college. I was this big time recruit, and let me go back to high school, check out my huddle. No, man, you're one injury away in theory from being able to play in a college field. I would tend to think that would be a little bit more financially incentivizing than playing in high school.
All right, but what about this scenario? You're a 4th or 5th round pick. Call it a 5th round pick. All right, you're making whatever the league minimum is or whatever you can get for that slot, and you're not going to play. And then there's an injury at your old school, right, of the position you played. And they'll pay you double. Hey, coach, cut me. I got an opportunity. I feel like somebody should own your rights. My kids who play club soccer can't go to another club. We have to, it's just, I can't mid-season just, all right, later. It doesn't work that way.
We'd have to clear waivers and stuff like that, and a team would have to have reason to want to cut you. So it's not like you could just leave that contract. This whole situation happened as a result of a player clearing waivers and not being an asset to his team anymore. Whereas if you're still in the 2 deep and they're like, yeah, we need you, man. I know you're not playing, but you're our 5th wide receiver. I know you could probably make more going back to college, but that's why the NFL does have the CBA in place, where there is a thing like a veteran minimum, wherein those guys are making way more than the practice squad type guys. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but these are the types of conversations that I think we need to at least be looking at right now and examining wait, could you actually do something like this? Because if we're just opening up this roster, this college roster to things like that this late in the game, then you're right. Teams are going to be desperate midseason. There are going to be coaches that are like, I've got 2 losses. I can't lose another game. And I need to figure out a guy. And like part of the reason why this can happen is like you have a guy in Daquan Wright that already knows the system, already understands the offense. So like in theory, he can come in there and just play it right away. Whereas opposed to like some of these other guys, it's a little bit tougher. But yeah, man, this is you're right for throwing this out there. We're probably looking at a very specific situation, also with the 5-for-5 ruling, the recency of it, and kind of the backtracking that some of these guys are trying to do to be able to benefit from it.
By the way, I think this hurts college football in another way too. I think more people, if this continues, which we'll see what happens, they're going to go into the draft now. They're going to try. And because there's no reason that you can't come back. Like there's going to be more. A lot of times these players get these evaluations and like, hey man, I think you'll be a 5th or 6th round pick, and they decide, you know what, it's worth coming back to college. Why not go to the NFL? You don't make it, you can always come back. Like it's cool. Like let's just experiment a little bit, find out what our worth is at the next level.
It might not be because of this 5-for-5 ruling and when it happened and how these class of 2022 guys are trying to reap the benefits of that with the potential loophole that it's created. Like it might not be that case down the road, but there could be some of that. And especially if some of these guys are real success stories and if they do end up getting to play in college football. And if you're seeing these guys make big time moves, like look at Nate Borkature last year, right? Like Nate Borkature is a guy from Nebraska who I think, unless you were a diehard Nebraska fan, you probably didn't know who that guy was. But he was going to go to the NFL, and he was going to probably be able to make like day 3 type money. And because of the way the NFL's trending with 13 personnel, and these coaches want to get more and more tight ends, like he would have had a market then. Then he goes to A&M, improves his draft stock, makes obviously maybe the single most important play of the year for A&M in that Notre Dame game with the game-winning touchdown, and then benefits greatly by going back into the NFL draft pool, and he's like a highly coveted pick by the Jaguars. You could see cases like that in theory, maybe not playing out in that same exact sort of way, but that's kind of probably the sell for some of these guys to be like, oh, well, yeah, I'll just come back and help myself in that way. And not that he was somebody who had already played in the NFL, so it's different than what we're talking about with these current situations. But yeah, there are going to be very creative ways if things are going to stay as fluid as they are right now.
Connor, one last thing on this topic. I've admitted on the air, I'm somewhat of a hypocrite with this topic because I don't want A&M doing it, but if other people are going to do it, I'd probably be fine with A&M doing it. Like I'm honest about that. Like, well, if Lane's going to do it and this guy's going to do it, like I don't want us to get beat because we didn't play the same game. I don't like it. I didn't like it with the G League players. I'm just not a big fan of it. That being said, Lane Kiffin adding guys from Ole Miss feels worse. And maybe it shouldn't, but it just feels like, am I, like from at least an aesthetic standpoint, doesn't it just feel way worse?
It's objectively hilarious. Let's call it what it is. I mean, it is the most Lane Kiffin thing that you could possibly do. Let's be 100% honest. Yes, it is. And by the way, Xavier Harris, if you read the quote that Chris Lowe kind of resurfaced yesterday, he blasted Lane in the midst of Ole Miss's college football playoff run. I was like, that guy's selfish, and he's there. And then what's he doing? He's going to LSU, and he's going to play for Lane Kiffin if he's allowed to. We'll see how this all plays out. But you're right. I think that's how fans probably feel. Like, if this team's going to do it, and that team's going to do it, then and there are probably certain coaches who you've already seen Dan Lanning come out and speak out against this, but then certain coaches who haven't. Like Sark has not come out and spoken out against this. He basically said, yeah, like nobody knows what the rules are. You know, it's a joke. If Pete Golding had been the one to do this and was stealing players from Lane Kiffin's roster, you think that Steve Sarkisian would have been like, yeah, nobody knows the rules. He'd be blasting Pete Golding. He'd be calling out the basket weaving. He'd be talking about all the different things that Ole Miss is doing to ruin college football and what an injustice. But instead, because it's his buddy Lane Kiffin, he's like, you know what? Like this, guys are on a roster, then they're not. Who knows who's going to play? And he's acting like he doesn't have any idea. No. You're taking your buddy's side in all of this. And everybody's just looking out for number one. That's what all of this is all about. Nobody's looking out for the best interests of college football as a whole, and that's the situation that we've created.
Connor, I lied. I do want to ask one other question. Billy disagreed with me here, but just tell me what you think. The fact that Lane, and after Billy spoke, I started to agree with him a little bit, but the fact that Lane is entertaining this as openly as he is, to me said maybe he's not as happy with his roster as he thought. And Billy's like, maybe not. It's not that. He's just, you can get better roster, you get a better roster.
I think that's it. I really do. Think about what Lane was able to do at Ole Miss. And I think Lane did a really good job of getting those people behind the scenes with the Grove Collective to give more and more money. He's like, look at how far I can take your dollars. Look at what I did with this transfer. Look at what I did with that transfer. And Ole Miss got to a place where it was very different when he left as compared to when he got there initially. And there was that initial revolt. And you're like, what kind of roster is Lane Kiffin going to build? And then the transfer portal rules changed, and it changed everything for how he was able to finance that roster. If you're going to leave for a job like LSU, and if you're going to have these resources available, you'd better use them. And if you've got enough money to be able to make this work and be like, hey, yeah, we'll pay $500,000 to add a second tight end, even though we've already got an All-American, sure, let's do it. Hey, I know we've got like 3 different guys that could play slot receiver for us, but you know what? This guy could do it too. Let's just go out and get him. Let's make this happen. It's more so that. And if you're an LSU fan, you're like, well, this is good. I don't want my coach being like, you know what? Well, we've got enough depth. I don't really think that we can make this work. No. In an era in which depth is being questioned across the board, and we're saying collectively, the elite programs can't build depth in the way that it used to, you want to be the one that's defying all that and adding insurance policies, because you're trying to build your roster for a run deep into January. And to do so, like, these are the types of moves that I guess if you're Lane Kiffin, you can justify making.
Connor O'Gara with us here on TexAgs Live. All right, Connor, I did want to get to your column from last week that we didn't get a chance to chat about. You talked about the pass catchers, obviously, in the SEC, and you kind of ranked them, and you have Mario Craver at number 2. What separates him from most of the pack?
Yards after catch. Yards after catch. It's such an underrated stat, I think, that we talk about, but we don't actually acknowledge. Like the fact that Mario Craver finished the season behind only the likes of Malachi Toney and Zachariah Branch among power conference receivers in yak yards. I think it gets forgotten just how good he was in space. I think it gets forgotten that Casey Concepcion had this rise as a first-round receiver, arguably like the comeback player of the year in college football, or one of them. And Mario Craver finished with 2 fewer catches and 2 fewer receiving yards than he did. Like, I just think he was a lot more productive than people really give credit for. And I think that him returning was one of the most returning announcements that we got of any of the playoff contenders. And so now you look at that receiver room, and you would expect it to be a strength for A&M. We talked already about the emergence of Terry Bussey. The addition of Isaiah Horton is going to be really, really important. You still have Bethel Roman coming back. Like, there are a lot of positives in that receiver room, but you have a go-to guy, Mario Craver. And I think he is more proven than some of these other guys. Like, there are people that push back on me ranking him ahead of Cam Coleman. I'd say, well, has Cam Coleman finished in the top 15 in the SEC in receiving yet? No. Has he been in a situation that has maximized his skill set yet? No. Will he this year? Yes, I very well think he will. Okay, I think that if he's ever going to pop, it's going to be with a situation like what he has at Texas. But Mario Craver's a more proven player than what Cam Coleman has been so far to this point in his career. So, yeah, I love the guys that we've already seen it against SEC competition. We're not just sitting there projecting. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Mario Craver. I think he's one of the best receivers, not just in the SEC, but in all of college football.
What about Isaiah Horton? I know he was close to making the list. What do you need to see from him to join that group? And then where do you put the A&M receiving core in the SEC hierarchy?
I want to see more consistent production between the 20s from Isaiah Horton. Really good red zone threat. And was a guy that was leaned on a lot last year with that Alabama team. But, you know, what do you look like between the 20s when you need to be able to move the chains? Can you be that kind of glue guy? Because last year, Bama's glue guy was Jeremy Bernard. And Isaiah Horton was a guy that, man, like, you get him in some of these matchups, he's really, really good. Can he be a more consistent player, though, for this A&M team and kind of turn himself into a go-to guy? You never know what sort of injuries are going to pop up. You know, you saw last year some games it'd be Craver who was the go-to guy. Some games it would be Concepcion who was the go-to guy. So can he kind of be that veteran presence in the room? I'm curious kind of how much he's learned from Jeremy Bernard and playing in that system to be able to translate to his game. Different player, of course, but I think that he's a guy that if you just see more consistency, like I don't think he finished in the top 40 in the SEC in terms of receiving yards per game in the conference, but he had, 8 receiving touchdowns last year and was a guy that Ty Simpson would turn to in some of those tight situations. So I want to see more consistency out of him there. Maybe A&M doesn't necessarily need him to be a 1,000-yard receiver or anything like that, but I think there's still some meat left on the bone with his game.
Connor, great stuff as always, my brother. We'll talk to you next week as it's a game. Well, it's a game week this week, but really a game week for us next week. So you know what I mean.
Always appreciate it, bro.
Hey, by the way, no more 0 week, right? It's all going to be week 1 next year, right? Am I remembering correctly?
You might be. The problem is that there are still teams that play both in week 0 and week 1. So it's like, how do you distinguish? Like, what's their week 1 game? I don't know. It's the sport's a mess. That's very low down on the list of concerns right now for college football.
Talk to you next week, man.
Thanks, man.
That's Connor O'Gara on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Open segment. We'll chit-chat about some commentary on the YouTube page and more. Right now, farming and ranching families do think different. They're not working for today. They're building for tomorrow. That's what they do. And that's why I love what Chance McClain and his Heritage Films team does. They do these stories for farms, for ranches, for businesses, for just normal everyday people. And it's a blueprint for the future, for the DNA of your family, if you will. We did one on my father. It's great. My dad's still with us. He's 96 years old. Did it, 4 years ago? It was fantastic. But you can do it for anybody. You can do it for your family business, your family ranch. Tell the story of how you all found your ranch, what makes it unique, the work that you've done on it, whatever it may be. Let Chance and his team be an eye in the sky and tell your family story. That's legit. That's all you got to do is let them be an eye in the sky, and I think you're going to come away with a 2-hour documentary, and you're going to love it. The website is yourheritagefilm.com, yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It's Heritage Films. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. All right, Nick, need a ruling. Natalie, need a ruling. So David Edmond causing problems, and we're just going to make this quick, all right? I want you guys, he got mad that I'm talking about the high school thing. It's impossible. What was his words? We have a bunch of Nazis on here telling people what they can and can't do. Just stop with the high school argument. It's absolutely ignorant. It has no logic. High school is not college. God, you're such an idiot sometimes. Here's the facts, okay? And tell me if you agree with me or not. I know it's not the same thing. I said it. By the way, the NFL is different than college. We're having conversations about guys making plays in the NFL coming back to college. That's what we're doing. That's why I made the comparison, because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, you're using an exaggerated example to illustrate how silly it is in the world we're in right now.
Do I think it's going to happen? No, and you know what? Sometimes people are not worth having in the chat if they're just going to always be a disruptor. So I might pull what others have done. I've just muted him for 30 minutes. Not a big deal. But like, if you're always going to be a contrarian and always cause issues, I don't need to see you. You need us more than I need you. Bottom line. Anyway, you can still listen, but like, we don't need you to chat with us. But like, just use your head for a second. It's a talk show. We're discussing things from different layers. You want to say it's ignorant, blah, blah, whatever, bro. Just go listen to the other AM TexAgs show or the other A&M show. Go enjoy that show. Like, constantly causing issues. And by the way, I think it's ridiculous, Natalie, I think you agree, and Nick, that we're talking about NFL players coming back to college. I thought it was ridiculous that G League players were coming back. That's my whole point. It was like,
it's just an analogy. It's an analogy.
It's not even one that I believe could happen, but I'm wondering if there's a court out there that'd be like, well, hey, hold on. There are kids that graduate early to go join their school, right? Football, soccer, you see it all the time.
Yeah, what's to say?
I didn't get my last semester. Technically, I didn't play. I should have eligibility. I know it can't happen, but can it?
Yeah, at this point.
That's what I'm saying. You get the lawyers or the judge why not?
At this point, I think all hypotheticals are worth discussing because, as you said, 6 years ago, if we would have talked about an NFL player coming back to college, it would be ridiculous. It's still ridiculous. I will say, if we're really going to analyze it, I think that the incentive to go back and play high school sports is probably much lower than someone coming back to college.
Sure, and Connor laughed at the idea. But my point is, what if you're like, you just have dreams of scoring another touchdown, right?
High school hero.
I would love to participate. I'd get destroyed in high school football. But maybe I could find like a one, no, not even a 1A. I mean, Terry Pussy would destroy me. I'm just saying,
Why not?
We have Enes Kanter trying to enter the WNBA. I guess that's my point. I understand the why behind his thing. Everything is crazy. That's my point. Like, think about it. If we could go to any of us 10 years ago, just 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago.
Yeah, maybe even 5.
And be like, all right, this is what, you can do this, you can go from the NFL for a cup of coffee, not a full cup. And by the way, I don't know if I'm only against it because I just don't think, I feel like there should be amateur in college.
I think that when, like what Obi said, don't hate the player, hate the game. If these athletes are seeing windows of opportunity, why not try to take it?
And I understand why coaches are doing it too, but I'm allowed to not like the spirit of it.
I agree. And I think that one of the biggest negatives that it can have for the actual sport is the dynamic of locker rooms. I was a freshman when COVID happened and I was a student athlete. And all of a sudden I was 18 competing against 23-year-olds for a spot in the lineup. And that was hard in itself. But then you add in the whole dynamic of them coming back from a professional league. I think that that's going to be hard for coaches to manage. Players thinking that they had a shot for some playing time, and then Daquan Wright comes back in and bumps you from maybe the second guy in to maybe not even suiting up for some games. I mean, yeah, I think that that's a going to be a consequence that maybe is not getting talked about enough if this does actually allow to happen.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I don't like it, but it's a talk show. We're just going to talk about it. Like, Nick, all right, we got to hit a break because I know Morrison's here, Jamie Morrison. But, like, do you remember the days of people getting mad at, like, the DH? And, like, you know, like, oh, I don't like interleague play. Like, the spirit, like, we're arguing about
pitchers. Yeah.
You know,
yes.
That seems like nothing now. Like, you know, just anyway. Oh, I like getting worse.
I feel like it's going to get worse before it gets better too, but we'll see.
That's
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think you just did what I would do. Let's talk Paragon Financial. If you're looking for real peace of mind when it comes to your money, check out Aggie-owned Paragon. Look at that transition, right? Paragon Financial Advisors, an independent fiduciary serving clients all across Texas. No sales pitches, no commissions, just honest financial planning and investment management. And what sets them apart is the 9 CFPs, the CFA, and the CPA. They take their credentials seriously, and they work tirelessly to help you build a future that you can feel good about. Go to paragon-adv.com or give them a call, 979-693-3907, to schedule your free consultation today. It is Paragon Financial Advisors, integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. All right, all is good in the world now. We're talking with Jamie Morrison here on TexAgs Live. A little volleyball talk. Kay Nagley joining me for that. Coach Morrison, I would say, how are you doing? I'm sure you're doing well personally, but I know it was not the week you wanted to start off the season with.
No, not the week I wanted to start the season off at all. So, well, I mean, there were positives, and you got to look at those every single time you play in those. That I thought we came out and obviously learned about Kendall like pretty shortly before the match, and I thought Megan stepped up the entire weekend and played at a really, really high level. And I thought the team itself, like the way that we went out and we fought, we talked about that beforehand, just about who we're going to be for the entire season, and I thought we lived up to that, especially in that first match.
Let me follow that up with the Megan commentary, because I feel like that might be something that there's going to be a benefit from it later on. Now too, but like the experience, the opportunity.
100%. I think for her to be able to play, I don't know, in a match like that against top 10 opponents or matches, I think it's huge, and to go out and perform the way she did. But I think for the team also, just to be able to go out and understand how to be balanced, like that we, I don't know, are capable of. And obviously, I think Kendall pushes that over the edge. Like I think we win that first match, especially. But I think for us to be able to have the confidence to be able to go out and play like that against a really good volleyball team is huge.
Gonna get out of the way. How's she doing? I know y'all were able to get back and kind of get back in the system.
Getting better day by day. I think we have a plan on how to attack things. So I think that was yesterday, and like obviously the starting point of that. And then it's like I'll say this about every single one of our players. It's about long-term health too. So it's not just rushing back to, I don't know, play on Friday. It's how do we get her healthy for the season, and then how do we get her healthy enough? And I've told her this, to be bulletproof when she goes off and plays a professional career, and I think, in my opinion, a national team career. So I think it's a combination of those two things, but better day by day.
And if I could follow up, just how do you think, I know there was some initial shock that had to come with, the injury and just all the team learning that, like, okay, Kendall's not going today. How do we try to go about this without her? Just how do you think your team did from that perspective?
Amazing. And honestly, like, it happened, and it happened in the weirdest of, not circumstances, but like it was just something where you're not expecting that to happen at that moment. So we were in the middle of a serve pass, and I thought the team, I don't know, there was zero hesitation. And we've talked about, hey, we're going to be able to win with different combinations of people on the floor, and that's the way we practice. Like, we don't just say, hey, here's this, like, A side, here's the B side. It's like we intermix things a lot, so everyone's used to playing with each other. So it was really a next woman up mentality. And I don't think anybody really batted an eye, freaked out. Like, it was, hey, let's do what we can to get her ready to go, if at all possible, on both nights. But I think once it wasn't, it was the next person up, and we didn't bat an eye.
This is not specific to Kendall, but it can be. How difficult is it for an athlete to be like, hey, you don't need to rush back, come back at the right time? Because as an athlete, like, yeah, I think I feel okay. Like, you're always trying to push it, right? And you all have a plan, but to make sure that your athletes in general, not just Kendall, follow the plan.
Really hard.
Yeah. Because they'll tell you what you want to hear sometimes, right?
No, I think we have a pretty good relationship of trust within our program that people are going to tell us the truth about things.
Good.
And I think there's a pretty good understanding from our athletes that we're going to try to look after you. And there's an understanding that, hey, if we can get you back safely, we're going to get you back safely and have you step out there. But athletes, and you want them this way, are warriors. Like, they want to step out there and they want to go to battle. And she's no exception in that. And she was really, really trying on Sunday. And I thought that was probably the more disappointing one, that like for her at least, that like we felt like we kind of got her to a spot. And again, I don't think it was the right thing or the safe thing to put her out there. So.
I want to talk about one of your standouts this weekend. Gabby Rodriguez caught a lot of attention.
Yeah, she did.
She had 18 digs in that opening match. Just two questions. Ultimately, one, what led you to pick her for libero? And then two, just how cool is it to see a freshman go out?
Yeah, I mean, that was tight. And I think you guys have seen Apple, a part of our team. So I think obviously we throw a lineup out there and everyone thinks it's a lopsided thing. It was the thinnest of margins. And it's try to do things fairly. Everybody that comes into our program, I don't promise playing time, and I don't promise it year to year. Like, you got to come in and you got to earn it. And if somebody else like decides to shoot up, then they're going to be given an opportunity at some point. So I think just what you saw on the court, and again, it was the thinnest of margins in there. But like when the two of them are out there, it's just, I don't know. It's really hard to serve against us. It's really hard to put a ball down on the floor. And I think with Gab, like, just her ability, I don't know, to go out and pass a third of the court, or two-thirds of the court. And then she had some, I don't know, ups just defensively, where there were a couple balls with her right hand where she was running here and just scooped the ball over in this direction that you just don't see from most people. So, and I think, again, the thing I'm not surprised by, but like, she's not the type of libero that, I don't know, makes everything look spectacular. She'll make those plays every once in a while, but she's just able to stand in the right spot, make the right read, and get the ball up in the air. And I think the stats told the story, but I think if you really dissect those matches, just her ability to read and be in the right spot and then make things look easy is our biggest superpower.
You had mentioned in the offseason that the offense could look different this year. Are you closer to what you thought offensively? Do you think that you saw some things this weekend that yes, this is what we want to do?
Yeah, I think, and I think that'll be a little bit of a work in progress as the season goes on. But there were pieces of it there where I was like, hey, this is flowing in this way, and then there were pieces when it broke down. That's going to happen with a team that hasn't been around each other and a decent number of young athletes on the floor. So it's about, can you make that more repeatable over time? And that's one of the things that we talked about. I think just from the way we fought to the way that we played the middle of that second set against SMU, I thought that broke down a little bit. And I said this to every group that I've ever coached, that's a muscle that has to be fatigued, and then you have to rest, and then you have to go do it for longer and longer and longer. And it's not just doing it for like I said this during the spring. It's not just doing it for a whole set. It's doing it for a whole match, and then it's doing it for a whole week, and then it's doing it for a whole season. And that's how you go win championships, is once you're, able and stable enough to go do that over and over and over again, then you're winning every single match. And that's where we need to try to get to.
You ran a 5-2 with Lily and Kira. Just your evaluation of both of those setters this weekend.
Yeah, good in parts, and great in parts. And again, it's the consistency piece that has to come there. So, I think I'm going to throw this one out there too. Like Lily defensively, there was a ball in, I think it was the Louisville match, where they tried to go off the outside hands, and play I've never seen somebody make before that was able to pull that thing back into the court. So I thought really good. And again, we'll get more consistent over time as that happens. But I was really really happy with what I saw from them.
All right. So the bromance last week, Kay cut a clip and did pretty well. So I'm going to pivot from books.
We're going to go on to something else.
We're going to just try. We're going to see.
Infinite Organizations, by the way, name of the book that I couldn't remember.
Infinite Organizations. Yeah. All right, that might be next on my list. So music-wise, when you need to get into a certain. It's focus time, it's work time. Is there a musical choice?
Okay. Into work mode?
Yeah, like sports work mode. Not
work mode, I don't want lyrics. Work mode, it's the lo-fi study beats on Spotify is usually what I'll throw on.
Okay.
And it'll just give me a little something in the background of that. If I'm chill at home, probably some acoustic country, something along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
What if you want to, is there any pop or rap or anything?
I'll throw some hip hop on. I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to music. So usually 90s, like I love my 90s hip hop is also another great Spotify playlist, something along those lines.
Yeah.
But that'll be the one that kind of gets me going.
And then podcast wise, do you listen to podcasts?
I do. Not as much as I used to. Car is kind of my quiet time before I go home with family and try to recharge. But I've lately been listening to Mel Robbins, which I had never listened to in my entire life, but she did a podcast with Jay Shetty. I'm a big fan of Jay Shetty, so I started listening to that. It was randomly social media, those clips were popping up over and over again. I'm like, maybe I need to listen to Mel Robbins. But Mel Robbins,
Huberman.
I know of Huberman. I listened to a little bit, but
sorry, Kay. We'll get back to volleyball.
I love it.
Dax Shepard. I think
he does a great show.
He has a amazing, and just his ability to storytell and get into stuff. Michael Gervais was our sports psychologist. So Finding Mastery is one that I listen to a lot. And then Rich Roll.
Rich Roll's great.
Yeah, I think Rich Roll's just the OG of it. He's been doing it forever and just really good at kind of diving into stuff.
Really good book too, by the way.
Yeah, has a few.
Do you know any of the names we mentioned?
The music part I was following.
The podcast, you're I'm out.
This is Mr. Country Music over here, by the
really?
way.
Right.
Yeah.
When I got to TexAgs, even though I went to A&M, when I got to TexAgs, I didn't really have a huge country playlist.
Yeah.
I got a nice country playlist now.
Cool.
Yeah, I've grown.
Yeah, we got to get you on some podcasts.
I know. I need to. I just never. I'm a music girl. I am.
So, all right, you steer the ship back to volleyball.
Okay, we'll steer the ship back to volleyball. Just talking about the entire outing in Milwaukee, obviously there's a lot of things you want consistency, things you want to grow on. What were you most pleased by?
The way we fought. And I think the other one too, in all of it, the consistency piece, it was there for stretches. So with all of it, everything you talked about, the passing was pretty amazing the entire time. Our setting, we were able to run a pretty efficient offense for pieces of it. Choices that were happening, we were able to do it for stretches. And again, both of those teams are really, really good. So the ability to step out there and be able to compete with them without Kendall on the floor, that was huge. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, as disappointed as I am about losing, and I said this especially after the Louisville match, I told our team, I'm like, hey, I'm sad. Like, I don't like losing. Like, it's a piece of me. I'm competitive, and I like that. But I'm encouraged by the fact that like what we were just able to do of what we can be at the end of the year. And I've been saying it the entire, I don't know, till I'm blue in the face. Like, the group's young. It's going to take some time. And we've talked about the fact that we now have 13 weeks to get ready for the NCAA tournament to make sure that we're good enough at that point to go make a run. And obviously, we need to win some of these to make sure we have a resume to get a higher seed in the tournament. But that's really the goal. So I was like more encouraged after the weekend. And if I come in and I sound like I'm disappointed, it's not that at all. Like, again, from where we were in the spring to where we are right now to where I think we can be, like, we're on the right track for that. So I think that's the biggest thing.
Sorry to bring up last year, but I know this team has to write its own script. But does last year's story, when you go to other arenas, that's what they think about. Those are the national champions that are walking in here, right? Does a slower start than you wanted, does that start becoming pressure for players that maybe weren't even here last year, but like they know that that's the expectation when they walk in?
I think to some extent, like I've tried to talk about that till I'm blue in the face with the girls that like, hey, this is your story. This is, I don't know, your journey. Like, don't try to live up to something. Don't have any comparisons to last year's team. But I'm guessing there's probably, and that's the reason why I tried to address it as much as possible, that I'm guessing there's pressure, both internally and externally. And my hope is that, again, those pressures externally, like it's a different group that's going to have to learn like the last one did. Mm-hmm. And I just want to go back to when those players were sophomores, like what it was then. And this group is so much further ahead. And I think we can get to the spot by the end of the year where that group was last season.
You play 3 very veteran teams this weekend, and Cal Poly's coming in. They made a push in the Sweet 16 last year. Just kind of talk about those 3 matches in the whole, and also y'all will reveal the banner for the national championship team.
Yeah, 3, and again, like I'm on a crusade to, I don't know, get rid of RPI, but like 3 good RPI fillers, but not just that, they're really good volleyball teams, and they're that for a reason, and they're able to go out and get 22, 25 wins within their conference, but can play volleyball at a really high level, and I think you're going to see that 3, I don't know, really good matches with us playing, but them playing each other this weekend at Reed Arena. So I think there's that. And again, Cal Poly made a push into the Sweet 16, went through 2 really good teams to get there. So like they're all going to be a force to reckon with. But obviously they pushed a little further last season. And then, we get to, I don't know, I had a lot of moments last season when we were playing at home and I would look up and see women's basketball's championship banner over here. And I'm like, man, something really needs to go over in this corner. And obviously, like I don't have the visions, and Kendall had her documentary that came out of confetti coming down, but I was just like, that'd be really amazing if we were the team that could even this thing out and put a banner in this corner. So to be able to, I don't know, we came in and there was a flag that was up there. I can't remember exactly what, maybe a Texas A&M flag, and that had been taken down. And like I had a moment of, like, I'm smiling right now where I was like, it's really cool that we're going to get to put something up in that corner of the arena.
Yeah. Last thing for you, from a coach's perspective, what is success? What does success look like this weekend?
I think the same thing we talked about, just playing volleyball the way that we talk about, the non-negotiables that are a part of our program, and then the emotion that we bring to every single point. And can we stretch that across all 3 matches? So again, I told them I thought we did it for 5.5 sets. Like, we got to be able to do that for longer and longer and longer. So can we stretch that out over this entire weekend against all 3 of these teams?
Jamie, thank you, sir. Appreciate you. All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with a short final segment on the 9 o'clock hour before we talk to Jason Glenn here on TexAgs Live. Right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, you owe it to yourself to go to Caldwell and check out the great selection that they have there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. If you got a trade-in that you're considering, let them be the ones, because they're always giving top dollar for the vehicles that you bring to their lot. And they're dealing on everything. They'll give you a great price and that great customer service that they're known for. Every vehicle comes with a free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. So you're going to get great customer service, great price, and great trade-in value. That's the place to go in the area. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the good people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com.
We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're still presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's check in with Natalie at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Natalie, it was a busy 9 o'clock hour. We're going to have another busy one for the 10 o'clock. Do you have anything for us?
Josh Pate, friend of the show, has come out with another prediction list.
Okay. He loves making predictions.
He does love a good prediction.
I'm going to start doing predictions every show that, college players are going to go back to high school.
Probably get some good engagement in the YouTube chat on that.
Yeah, maybe.
He predicted SEC win-loss records for every team, and he's got A&M at 9-3, tied with LSU, OU, and Ole Miss, predicting them all to have the same record. Couple things he said about A&M in his explanation. He said that he actually likes the runway that the schedule creates, but that back five is what he's really unsure about. And he said that everything from 0-5 to 5-0 is in the cards. That schedule being Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, OU, and of course, Texas.
Yeah, so I agree with him on the runway. I hate the landing, right? But if you're good, you're good, right? I've made this point before. If OU is not who everybody says they are, although what was their win total yesterday? 7.5, I think it was. Whatever the win, maybe it was 8.5.
8.5, I believe.
Okay, whatever their win total is, they have a tougher beginning of their schedule. If they're a bad team, it doesn't mean they won't beat you at the end. I'm not saying that, but I'm wondering when that game comes, what it means to them. I know that Texas was probably not playing for a playoff spot at the end of last year. Maybe they believed that they were. But you can lose to any team that's inferior to you. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just curious what Tennessee is like at the end of the year, what Oklahoma is like. What are we thinking about Alabama at the midway point of the season? What are we thinking about A&M? Right? That conversation piece can go multiple different ways. We'll hit a break. We'll come back and talk to Jason Glenn next here on TexAgs Live. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We are in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's talk to one of our favorites. Jason Glenn, obviously an Aggie star. He's now in Austin. What is it? The executive athletic director. He's doing all kind of great things. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Jason, what's up, my friend?
Hey, how you doing, my brother?
Good. You looking fit, dude. Sorry for the dude. You're looking good.
Hey, man, I'm trying to keep together. Waking up at 4:45 every morning, man. Trying to get this workout in before work.
Oh, tell me more. See, Jason, you don't know this about me, but I love the miracle morning. So tell me about your mornings. I want to hear all about it. Let's go.
Oh, man, I wake up at 4:45. My wife gets upset because I wake up every morning yelling just like I played. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, woo, let's go. And she gets upset, but she knew what she was getting into when she married me.
Yeah.
So, I wake up in the morning, man. I go to the gym. Start off with a little cardio, man. Get a lift in with some cardio, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
I love it, man. I love the way a good morning like that makes you feel. So talk to me about the gig. You've been there, I think, a little over a year, right? Or maybe a little bit more than that. But just how's it gone? How are you transitioning to life in Austin?
Man, it's been very exciting. Going into my third year, actually, I just finished year 2. Being from Houston, been at College Station for a while, man, and Austin, it is a different place. But I tell you what, man, it's a pretty cool place, man. We live out in the hill country, in Bee Cave, Lake Travis area, man. So we have the hill country going, and it's very peaceful, very quiet, scenic views, man. It's a great place to live, man. It really is.
Now, how is it? Does it feel like an abundance of burnt orange everywhere? And how much do people talk to you about A&M?
Man, I have a special type of medicine that I have to take every morning because of that. I have to take a special type of medicine, man, because even in my office, my staff members, everybody here is burnt orange fans, and but I block that out because we focus on the kids, man. But I tell you what, the banter is real. Trust me, it gets real.
Well, it's going to feel good for you if A&M, breaks through and takes care of business this year. I know it's been rough the last couple of years, especially since that coincides with how long you've been in Austin. I'm just saying.
Hey, man, I might have to move back to Houston or something, man. Just so I don't know if I'm the bad juju or what, man. But I know we have a great game coming up, David. As you know, it's always exciting. I'm excited about this rivalry to pick it back up and get things going. But, when A&M wins, I'm telling you now, they might end up running me out of Austin the way I'm going to act when we pull this thing off. So I'm ready for it.
You act a fool, Jason. I love it. Hey, something I didn't plan on talking to you about, but I'll just bring it up. Have you been watching the news or listening or been on Twitter seeing the pros that are going back to college and, the potential for that? And I know the SEC, Big Ten, the Big Four conferences are considering putting some rules to stop that from happening. Just as an old school player who played at the highest level, what do you think about all that?
Man, and again, it's funny that you asked me because I was just thinking about it this morning, man. I don't want to be one of those guys that an older guy that like, hey, I'm stuck in the ways or this has always been. I'm not one of those guys. I think anytime you can make change is great, especially if it's going to benefit the majority in anything, right? But I also believe, man, you're taking away opportunities, right, for high school. I look at high school kids and I look at the rosters. It seems like every single year or every couple of years, they are doing more things in the NCAA to take away the high school kids being able to be recruited and have an opportunity, right? And so I look at it at that because it's a domino effect, and it's funny how we're talking about pros where we actually putting the pros and high school in the same conversation. That was never a thing before, but now you have to look at what's happening in the pros to college to high school and how all that goes together and how it's a domino effect all the way down. So I think it's something that I think need to be adjusted. I really do.
I like the way you framed it, though. You don't want to be that old guy back in my day. But, I mean, I just think some things are just common sense, right? And there is a little bit of empathy for those guys that maybe came out because they got bad advice. Hey, man, you should go to the pros. But I do think if you sign a contract, that changes the game.
It does, man. And, we all have dealt with that before. But I will say this, I think it's a life lesson. You don't always reach your goals. So what do you do now?
Yeah.
Right? There's not a reset button. This is not a Xbox or PlayStation where you can press reset and the game of life resets itself. Yeah, I think everybody has a plan within their life. I know God has a plan for everybody, but you have your opportunity, you make the most of it, and if it doesn't work out, now what, right? So you always have to have that piece in your mind to where, okay, everybody doesn't get a trophy, everybody doesn't reach their goal. That's life. So what do you do now? And again, I'm not one of the old guys that say, hey, this is the way we always done it, but I look at the whole totality of this and see who does it affect in the whole grand scheme of things. Who does this affect? And you look at it that way, man, and it affects a lot of kids,
Jason, let's talk RC for a moment. He is going to get a statue outside of Kyle Field. Your emotions right there speak volumes. Just talk a little bit about how important that it is to you that he gets, this moment for everybody to honor him forever, by the way, and just what RC means to you.
Man, first of all, I think it's a great thing that we honor him, and a lot of times, man, we honor people when it's too late, and I love the fact that we honor him while he's still here with us. And, that has been a thing, man, that, we all as former players, we love to see, if his statue could be on the same height and weight as the Statue of Liberty at A&M, I mean, that's what it needs to be because of what he's done for that university. A lot of great coaches there. Don't let them get mistaken. Jackie Sherrill did a great job, and Coach Sherman but Coach Slocum. When you hear A&M, you cannot talk about A&M without having Coach Slocum a part of it. You can't. And so his statue, man, I would love for them to reach out to us, to all former players that he made an impact on, to donate towards that statue. And I'm telling you, the statue will be up there, man. With the Statue of Liberty for us, at Texas A&M. I truly believe that.
Jason, the thing that I take away from Coach Slocum, beyond my encounters with him, which is nothing but class, every player that played for him that I've spoken to, like they talk about him as a man more than a coach, how they still talk to him, how when he was going through his health issues, you all were a part of his life. When you guys have kids that are being born, you're getting married, you have a promotion at work. RC is like that father figure that is with you, not just the 4 years in college, throughout the entire time.
Yes, and that's the purity of it, David, if you think about it. Nowadays, college football is a business per se, but for him, it was personal. He wanted to see us become great fathers, great men, great husbands. And he always told us the story about the movie theater. I'll let him tell you guys about the movie theater story, but he always wanted us to represent not just A&M, but our families, of course, our school and communities. He wanted us to represent the right way. So he is a father figure. We still reach out to him. And the greatest part about that, to be honest with you, he didn't care about your race, your religion, your political views, none of that. He treated every single one of us, the same. And it was fair in what he did. And another great part about it, you would hear players that didn't make it to the NFL, and you hear players that make it to the NFL, and we all said the same thing about them, regardless of how our futures ended out. That's how you have a pure leader and a pure man.
From a football perspective, what made RC great?
Oh, man, first of all, the details. He was a big attention to detail guy. I remember I still remember the play going against Texas Tech. I just switched a linebacker from safety, my freshman year, maybe 4 weeks in the season, playing Texas Tech, and he sent me on a blitz from the outside. And they ran speed option. And I was supposed to take the pitch player, but I took the quarterback. And he took me out the next play. And he said, why didn't you take the pitch guy? And I'm thinking, I didn't know what to say. And he said, I need you to let me know. Because if we didn't teach you that, I need to know. But if you knew, that's your responsibility. I would never forget that. And that changed my whole perspective coming from high school to college on how he was, communicating with me on that end. So I took responsibility because I know Coach Hankiewicz, who's amazing defensive coordinator at the time. He did a great job of coaching us, but it was on me. But he asked me that question. I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. He's giving me the opportunity to answer that question, see if it's right or wrong. But, he was big on accountability, and that's what I took accountability for making the wrong play.
Jason, I think this upcoming football season for A&M is one of these that, like, maybe we're back to the RC days with Coach Elko, right? Because, just talk about your time at A&M. What did you guys do? Like, I feel like wins after wins, right? Like, RC, all he did was win. So talk about your era. And it's been a minute since we had that kind of sustained success.
Absolutely. And like I said before, man, Coach Slocum, he built stability. Right? You have an up year, you have a down year at some university, but when Coach Slocum was there, we was always winning. And that was a standard, and that was the culture he brought there, and the expectation that it was winning. And if we did lose, it was like, hold on, wait a minute, what's going on? Right? So he brought that expectation of always winning, always giving your best. And I tell you what, man, he brought it out of it. He found a unique way to bring out the best in individual players, not just as a team, because if you could bring out the best in individual players, it'd end up being a team anyway. So he knew what clicked for each one of his players. And in order for you to do that, you had to get personal with your players. And he did a great job with that.
Do you see similarities from a football perspective from Coach Elko and Coach Slocum?
Oh, absolutely. The way they carry themselves, the way they attention to detail, the way they address the team, the way they stay calm in times of chaos. They always they don't overreact. They didn't let their emotions get the best of them. They always make the adjustments when needed. And both of them are masterminds when it comes to defense. We was a 3-4 a 53 defense, 3-4 defense, and Coach Elko is a 4-down defense. But no matter what defense they're in, they always knew how to make the adjustments in order for us to win.
What are your expectations here after such a great season last year, 11-2? Can they double down on that success?
Absolutely. And that's the great thing about sports. You can always go back-to-back seasons. And I think the thing that I know the thing that Coach Elko is doing, he wants that stability. He don't want one year going 11-2, then the next year going, 9-4 or whatever. He wants stability of 11-2 or better. And that's the expectations he's bringing. And you could feel it. You could absolutely feel it in the conversation that's going around.
What do you think about the quarterback, Marcel Reed? And I'll just kind of set it up with the guy had a phenomenal year. People love to throw strays, but maybe just because that's what quarterbacks get. That's part of being a QB. You're gonna hear from the naysayers more than you're gonna hear the positivity. But the guy had a phenomenal year.
Absolutely. He stepped in, man. And I don't want to say surprises. I don't want to say that because the way that he carried himself and he played the year before, we kind of knew that he was, he had the potential to do those things. But I tell you what, man, I went to one spring practice and I was like, oh, wow. The young man has matured, not just as a quarterback, but as a leader of the team. His decision-making is great. We always knew he could run, which is great when it's needed. But for him to sit in that pocket, man, to throw some dimes, man, that's impressive to see. And his maturity and his growth as a quarterback, you can absolutely see it. And the sky's the limit for him. We're excited to see him play this year.
Yeah, and defensively, last year, I thought they had obviously an excellent defense the way Cassius Howell played. They did have the propensity to give up these big plays. From your perspective, how difficult is it to play really good defense and then give up that big chunk play that ends up being, for A&M, it ended up being their season because that's how Miami got to the other sideline, or the other end zone, I should say. How much of a backbreaker is that for a defense?
I tell you what it is, especially when you have that type of pride and that type of defense and expectations you set upon yourself for defense. But I tell you what, as long as you play in this game, you're going to have a missed tackle, you're going to have a blown assignment, you're going to have big plays. But the thing about it, how do you bounce back from it? One thing that we learned in football, in any sport, you have to have amnesia. Good or bad plays, you got to go to the next play. So when I was a coach, I used to tell my kids, hey, eat that play, let's go to the next one. And so at the moment, it is backbreaking. But how are you going to come back from that? And how are you going to react? What do you need to do now? So now you can score on defense, right? You can score on defense. I want to say you can score on defense. So regardless of what the offense does, defensive guys, we can score on defense too. If the offense isn't scoring at the time, you can score on defense. So we're not going to complain about the offense and points. We can do our job by helping by scoring on defense.
For those who don't know, kind of like remind the audience, the Big 12, what it was when you played in the Big 12. And like some people think about the Big 12 now, and look, Texas Tech's got a quality program. I understand that. But like the Big 12 back in the day, like we're talking like that was SEC-ish in your era.
Yes, absolutely. And I agree with you, David. Man, the Big 12, man, it was always competitive week in and week out. Upsets happen every week when we played the Big 12, and it was a lot of smash mouth, hit you in the mouth, man, type of defense, type of offense and the type of football until Oklahoma came in with Coach Stoops and started spreading that thing around. but it was, man, smash mouth. It was physical, you know, and they actually made rules now because of the way we played in the Big 12 back then, you know, as far as the physicality and the aggression. So they actually made the rules because of the way we played in the Big 12 that are now taking effect now in the whole NCAA college football atmosphere. So whenever they can make rules about the way you play to prevent some things from happening, you know you are playing very aggressive and physical.
All right, two-part question. Best player you played with and best player you played against.
So are we talking about college here, right?
Yeah.
The best player I ever played against, I want to say Michael Bishop.
Oh, yeah. That guy was a monster.
Bishop. Yes. At the time, zone read wasn't in. So if they had the Q game down back then when he was playing, he was a beast. You know, I will never forget, man, we was hyped up. And I think he just came from junior college at the time. And we were hyped up like, man, a junior college quarterback. Oh, man, we were about to light these dudes up. And then the game was at Kansas State. Then all of a sudden, Michael come out. I think he threw for 300-some yards, ran for like 100-some yards. And every time he get a first down, you can hear the whole crowd just going, you know, doing that clap. Michael Bishop. I'm like, has a dude been here 4 years? Because the crowd is already, you know, he was the best player I played against there. I believe the best player that I ever played with in my time, I would have to say Dat Win.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dat Win, man. Not just on the field, but off the field. He was already a pro before he was a pro. The way he studied the game, his knowledge of the game, and the way he can get from point A to B, you know, and it was amazing to see how smart he was to dissect defenses. And he used to call out plays. You know, that was crazy. He reminds me the way he played. I played with another great linebacker in the NFL, Junior Seau.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, but they would look at the offense and they would call out the plays. I mean, it was amazing to see. And that helped me as a linebacker, one of more to get out of watching film to start studying film. There's a huge difference. And they studied film. And they never looked at themselves. They looked at their opponents all the time.
I don't mean this as a shot to Dat, but physically, there were probably guys that were physically more imposing or faster, stronger, but he used every inch of everything, right? Like, and that to me is a sign of a true professional.
Absolutely. You know, you can see guys like that, like Dat Win, Zach Thomas. You know, you look at guys like that played linebacker, you know, with the Miami Dolphins. He was at Texas Tech. You look at those guys, they are very similar. One really big, one really fast, you know, but for them to be in the right position at all times and know what's coming, you don't need to be very big or fast to understand that piece. And they was always in the right position, whether run or pass, to make a play.
Jason, last thing for you. A&M goes to Oklahoma at the end of the year. You've played there before. They have not played them in the SEC era. How difficult of a place is Norman?
Oh, extremely. Extremely, because first of all, that crowd is right behind you. Mm-hmm. So they're right there behind you. But I know our guys are mentally tough and they'll zone that part out. But, you know, Coach got them rolling, man. Oklahoma is rolling. I know they had a down year before, but Coach Venables, man, he got them on the right track. It's going to be very tough, especially playing at somebody else's turf. It's always tough playing on somebody else's turf. But I tell you what, I know we have the pieces to get this done. Our defense, we reloaded through some transfers and some young guys stepping up. And, you know, with Marcel, man, back there, anything's possible for the offense. So I think we'll go in there. It'll be a great match. I believe we can pull that off if we play, you know, like A&M should play. But Oklahoma is a great team. It's going to be extremely tough to go in Oklahoma and play, especially late in the year where it's going to be extremely cold.
Jason, I appreciate your time, man. Something tells me that your staff there in Austin and also when you were in Houston says the same thing about you that you guys say about RC. I appreciate your class and always your willingness to come on the program.
Absolutely. Anything I can do for you and my Aggies, man, I'm here for it.
We know it, man. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, guys. Gig 'em. Jason Glenn on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Open segment before we'll talk a little Aggie Rodeo. By the way, I did bring up Oklahoma at the end of that interview because if you have tickets to the Oklahoma football game and wanted to spend the weekend with some great Aggies, all while receiving access to a special pregame event and more, look no further than the Traveling Aggies Oklahoma Football Weekend, November 20th through the 22nd.
Join Aggies in Oklahoma to watch the Aggie football team beat the hell out of Oklahoma. Travel package includes hotel accommodations at the Omni Oklahoma City, a private welcome reception, access to the official Traveling Aggies pregame event, a Traveling Aggie souvenir, and game day transportation. Please note that the round-trip transportation to Oklahoma City and game tickets are not included with this travel package. Don't miss your chance to travel with fellow Aggies for a marquee football weekend. To learn more about it, go to tx.ag/Aggies at Oklahoma. That is tx.ag/Aggies at Oklahoma. Hey guys, David Nuno here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. Natalie Martin, Angry Elephant News and Social Center. You've got, I say it like a 1950s like person, news. Anyway, thanks for the courtesy laugh. That's great. Let's find out what's popping on TexAgs today.
Well, we have got a ton of stuff on the site
ton?
today. A
Okay.
ton. Brawny did a baseball roster breakdown. We've got a Luchador episode sponsored by Poncho. We've also got a B Team episode this afternoon, also sponsored by Poncho. We'll have a lot of practice content. We'll have sights and sound, a gallery, and then there's also a press conference today with Jamari and Morrow, Jordan Shaw, and Lyle. We'll also have a soccer presser that was this morning. And then last but not least, there is a long-form recruiting piece sponsored by Frog Slayer. So lots of stuff to check out if you haven't already.
All right, you have some perspective to provide, do you not?
I do. There's something I've been wanting to add my piece on for a while that I think is an important key to the Aggie football team's success. That's Coach Tommy Moffitt.
You know him a little bit, right?
No is a stretch, but I've been in the same rooms as him.
Okay.
I was an athlete at LSU at one time while he was still in his tenure there, and was a part of that winning 2019 LSU championship team. And I was really excited to see when he was hired at A&M because I wasn't even coached directly by him. I was coached by some of his subordinates for my team. But the presence that he had in that facility and just the culture that he had established was so significant. He had the nickname of Coach MFer.
Is that his nickname?
I'm not sure if that carried over to A&M.
Okay.
At LSU, that was what he was referred to as, just because of what a tough guy he was and how respected he was. And you knew that if you're going to be part of that program, you're going to work hard. And I think to bring it back to what that means for A&M, this day and age, we talk so much about how everything has changed and the margins are so thin for winning. The competition is closer than arguably it's ever been in college football. And so those little edges that a team can have to give them, that late drive in the fourth to go up a score, and staying healthy through the rest of the season, I think is really, really important. So having a strength coach in Tommy Moffitt, I think we've already seen, like with the viral clip of Anto Saka and his press conference that was circulating the internet the past few weeks. Clearly, his system is in place, and we've seen, with the weight gains and losses throughout the offseason, that the team definitely looks like they're in the physical shape to endure this 9 in SEC game conference schedule this year. So yeah, I think that was just my insider tidbit. I think that Tommy Moffitt's program is going to be an important part of success this year.
Right, and it's been important the last couple of years. Look, this program has struggled in the past in November, and I know last year there was a struggle at the end of the season, but it was significantly better. It's gotten better each year, and hopefully we can continue to see that move in the right direction. Any text messages to get into from the Catalyst Pure Performance Energy text line?
We did have a couple of people asking you to speak your opinions. One thing that was talked about in the chat was the transfer portal and how it affects Power 4 conferences versus the Group of 5. And there was some debate on whether the transfer portal actually affects the Group of 5, but as we've seen, like with a Cassius Howell, for example, coming from a Bowling Green and making such a huge impact on the A&M roster, someone made a point about what that does to the teams that are left behind by their stars. So I think, what do you think the transfer portal does for that Group of 5? Is it
Well, if we're talking about what it does to the Group of 5, it's basically what we see. People love when I bring up international soccer. You see these smaller clubs that become feeder systems for the bigger club. And what they can sell their recruits on is you come here, we'll get you to the SEC. We'll get you. And if you're not, we're going to get you prepared and you'll get to, get a 4-year degree and play at a good school. You almost have to understand the lane that you're playing in. And look, there's a part of me that loves the idea of a Cassius Howell, goes to Bowling Green, develops, goes to A&M, develops even more, and now is the day 2 pick, right? That's a beautiful story. But I also do understand, gosh, we developed you. We stay here with us. But long-term success for these kids, like what's going to be the highest profile? Well, obviously going like Connor brought up with Nate Borkacher, right? Not that Nebraska's poverty school, but sometimes you go to a different place to change the national view of you as a player. Look, you should be able to move up to a better opportunity. I just wish there were a little bit more guardrails. That's it. And that's been the theme for years. And, but I think what's interesting is if the SEC, the Big Four conferences say, no, we're not taking these pros. If the smaller conferences are like, we got $12. If you want to come play here for a little bit less, you can come do that. That's what I think will be interesting.
That's a great point. And I think in terms of guardrails, like you said, one thing I think could be interesting would be implementing a buyout process.
Yeah.
Because obviously these teams that are developing players, someone in the chat made the argument that they need to be compensated for that. And I think it's a good point. So implementing buyouts into contracts, I think, could be an interesting way to solve that problem.
Before we hit a break, Matt in San Antonio, I have to defend you, Nuno. I don't think your hypothetical is that crazy at all about college guys going back to high school. I don't really believe it. I was just making conversation. Anyway, what if a high school player who reclassifies early like Balade or John Meredith doesn't like where he is on the depth chart in fall camp and wants to go back to high school to play more? Would he have eligibility technically? Not if you graduated early. I think once you graduate. But I understand your point. But did I really graduate? I took a test. I don't know. It's all to be debated in the world of hypotheticals. We'll hit a break. We'll find out about the A&M rodeo team. Women won the national championship last year. Looking forward to talking to Roger Hanagriff and his entire crew here on TexAgs Live. It'll be a fun conversation. Let's do this. Hanagriff, excuse me. Let's talk about Paragon Financial. There's something special about the Aggie Network, and it's built around trust, relationships, and people looking out for one another. And that's exactly how Aggie-owned, operated Paragon Financial Advisors approaches their financial planning. From their headquarters in College Station, they serve individuals, families, and business owners nationwide with independent, fee-only fiduciary advice. Whether you're preparing for retirement, growing your investments, building your business, or planning for the eventual sale of that business, Paragon's going to work alongside you through every stage of the journey. No commissions, no product sales, just personalized financial planning and investment management designed around your goals. Learn more or schedule your complimentary consultation at paragon-adv.com. Paragon Financial Advisors, Aggie-owned, independent, serving clients nationwide. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm hanging out at the Holistic Planning Cool Zone because we've got a rodeo time to talk about. Got a whole crew here. Roger Hanagriff, the head coach, Dr. Roger Hanagriff, I should say, Celie Simpton, McKinley Pascal, and Lucy Richards, all here to talk about the national championship from over the summer and looking ahead. How's everybody?
Oh, awesome. Great. Ready for a good year.
So let's start off with, how about everybody tell me what they do on the rodeo team so I learn a little bit about all your roles. You want to start us off?
Yes, I run barrels and occasionally rope breakaway, and then also internally I run all of our social media efforts.
Okay.
I'm just a barrel racer.
Okay. And Lucy?
I breakaway and tie goats, and I'm also the merchandise chair
Okay.
on the team.
So Roger, let's go back to the summer and winning the national championship. Was there a point where you realized we may actually do this thing?
You know, before we went into the finals, I thought we just had such a solid team and a good chance. So really, I was really optimistic up front. But when you get to the college national finals, it's over a week-long event. There's lots that can happen, lots of variables. But for me, the pivotal spot was in the final round. All 4 girls of our 5 that we brought, all 4 that were on the team made it to the final round, which is pivotal to get to the very end that Saturday night. And the first run that I think Celie made was just her best run all week. And it was like you could just feel the energy of the momentum. And I thought, okay, this is it. And they finished it up just exactly that way.
Celie, take me back to your emotions after winning it all and just maybe the entire experience.
Yeah, I didn't have the best week coming into the short round. I mean, not what I was hoping for, but I knew I didn't have much to lose coming into the short round and definitely needed to get points for our team altogether. And it was just a great run. I was second out in the short round, so kind of got the momentum rolling. And after I ran, I was excited for myself, but more excited for my teammates. And then they just kept rolling, and it was awesome.
McKinley, what was the pressure like?
I think I would say it was just more of excitement. I was super excited just to get to run that Saturday and just that we had made it that far. Of course, there's always a lot of pressure on short round Saturday, but I was super excited for myself as much as my teammates.
And Lucy, what are your memories of it and like actually hearing it out loud? You're the national champions.
I was the first one to go that on Saturday, so there was kind of a lot of build up to that night. The memories were like when they announced us to go on the stage as national champions, it was probably a moment none of us will ever forget.
Celie, how did you get into rodeo?
I've been kind of raised into it. Both my parents rodeoed and the rest of my family, and so just been doing it ever since and want to continue to do it after college as well.
McKinley?
I'm about the same. Both my parents did it. My dad pro-rodeoed, so it's in the family.
Same for me. My sister also rodeoed for A&M, and my dad did too, so I was born into it.
Roger, I feel like that's maybe very common in your world. Am I right about that?
It is. There's a lot of history in all of these families that bring them into this sport. So there is a lot of momentum that families continue through generations.
So is there a peaking to it? Like, do you need to be at your very best leading up to it, or is it no rhyme or reason? It just, like in track, often they say how you do on that particular day determines your whole season.
You know, it's a long season for us. It starts the end of September with our first college rodeo, and it'll go all the way through really almost into April. And so, you know, each event's important and sets the stage for what you are. But there's so many variables in rodeo, in the barrel race and the ground and the number that they're up. Lucy and the goats and the rope and the calves and the stock play a role. So really, I think the event's just a marathon of work. And the college finals is the same way. It's 4 rounds completely separate that build up to it. So there's a lot of pressure on what you did in the past, but you also let that go. It's what you can do next.
So then for everybody, and Celie, we'll start off with you. What does your quote-unquote off-season look like? Because it is 12 months. So do you get time to unwind? And then when you start working again, what does that look like?
Yeah, so when we're not in the collegiate season, I guess I could speak for most of us, we never stop. Whether it's going to amateur rodeos or pro rodeos, we like to keep our horses in shape and us sharp as well. And so there's really never any off season for us.
McKinley, what about for you? Same way? Like it's a way of life though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so throughout the whole year, we're always keeping our horses exercised, make sure they feel their best. But like Celie said, we're entering all the time and all over the country kind of. So it's pretty cool.
Roger, this can't be a cheap sport to be involved in, so I'm sure you guys have to get some fundraising and whatnot. How can folks help support?
Yeah, that's a great question. It is the families and the students themselves support our team. That really is where we're from, and we need support to get that done, working through different avenues through the university. But AggieRodeo.com is our main website, and we've got an event coming up called the All Aggie. It's where former students come back. It's September the 12th here in College Station. It's one of our fundraising events where former students come back, merchandise is sold that Lucy puts together and the rest of the officers. But that's an important spot for us. And then our college rodeo is February 19th and 20th this spring, and that's the other big effort for us. And last year we were able to pack the whole house out. It was awesome. 5,000 people in there in the last night, a 9,000 total event. So we're looking to get that done as well. But those two events really run us. The foundation offers support for us that we're working to build. That's something new, but all of that's accessible through AggieRodeo.com.
Excuse the ignorance. Is there recruiting? Do you try to get folks to come to Texas A&M to be on rodeo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That is the goal. And really the win from this year's created lots of momentum. We were 45 or so students a few years back. We had our meeting last night, getting everybody back and getting paperwork all filled out, and about 72 members this year.
Wow.
So it's grown, and recruiting is a part of our effort to try to, but building those resources to get them here and try to help them. Our students spend 10 rodeos, regional rodeos they go to represent A&M. Their fees alone and travel are well over $100,000. And so the families are supporting that. So we're trying to get more resources to help that.
Celie, why A&M for you?
I grew up not too far from here, just south of Navasota, and so because it's always been a part of the tradition to come here. A lot of my family went here, and I really couldn't imagine myself going anywhere else. And it's always had a great rodeo program, especially on the women's side, and just to see where I came in at and where we're at now is outstanding, and I'm so excited to see where it's going to go after I'm gone.
McKinley, why A&M?
I kind of always knew I wanted to wear the maroon vest when I rodeoed in college, but it was just definitely something I always looked forward to, and just the school atmosphere and how everyone is just something I always look forward to.
And Lucy?
It was pretty much bred in me. I'm a fifth generation Aggie, so I always knew I wanted to come here, and I'm really glad I did.
So we had Jamie Morrison in the studio, volleyball coach. They won a national championship, and every season they're trying to make their own story. I assume it's very similar for you all, but is there pressure because of what you did to kind of repeat?
That's a great question. I don't see it as pressure at all. I see it as just energy. The pressure on us every year as it starts over. We had our meeting last night, and you look at last year's success. Rodeo of the Year was something we were also proud of last year, as well as, of course, national team titles, individual titles. Awesome year, but now it restarts, and we look forward and to repeat that again. But not much pressure, really a lot of just excitement to get there.
Celie, McKinley, and Lucy, just for, anybody can speak, all three of you can speak. For somebody who hasn't experienced college rodeo, right? What's your pitch? What makes it so exciting? What makes it something like, you know what, come try it out?
I mean, rodeo alone is just an exciting sport. It's got a lot of history to it and a lot of tradition, and I think college rodeo alone is something you've never seen in college sports. And especially, I hate to be biased, but our team specifically in the rodeo that we put on is something like nobody else does, and you see a lot of that A&M tradition tying back to our rodeo, and Roger can talk more about it, but we are historically one of the founding members, I guess, of the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association, and just to see how much impact that our program has had and how much growth we've had is really phenomenal.
Who is the big rival? Is it Texas? Who's the rival in your world?
So with us, we're competing against, I guess, 12 or 14 different schools. So there's really nobody we're rivaling against. I guess when we go to the college finals, we're competing against schools all across the nation, and so nobody specifically is our rival.
All right, so okay, because you guys are better than everybody anyway. Well, Roger, anything you want to add here before we close out the segment, what folks should know and how they can support?
Yeah, and Celie mentioned it, college rodeo is just unique. It's also a very team-driven. Rodeo is not. Rodeo is very individually driven, but college rodeo is unique because each team is supporting each other. Like when Celie made her run, the excitement was energy. But before the other girls could make their runs, they were all watching each other. And that's unique about college rodeo. It's got a sport to it. But yeah, just reaching out to AggieRodeo.com. Follow us on our socials at CD Runs. You can learn more about our team and where we're going, and looking forward to this year.
Appreciate you all. We'll get you back here soon, all right?
Thanks.
Thank you very much. We'll hit a break. We'll come back here on TexAgs Live with one final segment. We'll talk a little football before we close. It's TexAgs. Final segment of the program. We call it TexAgs Live. We will talk football. We now know, I think, tell me if I'm right here, Natalie Martin at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. I believe we know every starting quarterback now in the SEC.
I think you're right. I can confirm, but Bama did announce that Keelan Russell won the job, at least for game one. So we will see him at the helm. And then, kind of surprisingly, Vanderbilt announces that five-star Jared Curtis will not start their first game. Instead, it will be veteran quarterback Blake Berlowitz, if I have that correct. But they did say that Jared would also be seeing the field in that game. So it seems like, I don't know, are they still in a battle? It'll be interesting to see.
I think they're taking the safe approach with a freshman. Like, let's just see, take off the training. We'll put on the training wheels and not take him off completely just yet. Let's see how he adjusts, because it is it's. I mean, he's supposed to be the real deal. He could have gone to Georgia. Vanderbilt
Yeah.
could have. So I think they're just saying, let's be careful and cautious with his development. That's what I think. So we got Aaron Philo at Florida. We've got obviously Keelan Russell at Alabama. There was another one that was announced.
Tennessee announced Faison Brandon.
Faison Brandon,
as
the
their
freshman.
starter.
Yep. So we've got all of them announced.
Yeah, so I guess all of those SEC quarterback ranking lists that had the Alabama quarterback can now be filled in with Keelan Russell.
Yeah, I think he's going to be really good. I just,
should be.
I have a hard time, personally, somebody who's never really played, putting them above somebody who was a Heisman contender.
Yeah,
that's just me.
I'm there with you. I mean, don't get me wrong. Keelan Russell has.
He might be the best quarterback in the conference, but
He has a solid resume for where he's at in his career. 2 state titles at Duncanville in Texas, Gatorade Player of the Year, Elite 11 finalist. So, he's got the reputation, but yeah, I think there's not as much evidence there as there is for Marcel Reed, but everybody loves a good underdog story.
I hope tomorrow when we come back and do this show, Greg Sankey and the entire SEC says, no, we're not helping you out, LSU. Dunzo, right? And there's a part of me, which I don't think they're going to for basketball. I do not think if they say, if you played pro ball, I don't think they're going to say to the LSU basketball players, you can't play. And there's a part of me that has a little bit more empathy there because it's been a long, it shouldn't take a football move to make a move for basketball, right?
Agreed.
It should just have been done from the beginning. But I hope that the SEC is like, look, we're not doing this, and everybody follows suit. Like and if they got to go to the courts, they got to go to the courts. But we've got to have some control over what is allowed and not allowed in leagues. And I believe you should be having your own rules. If TexAgs has a policy that says you have to be at work by 8 a.m., and if you're late, you are fined. You should not be able to go to, or you're, get in trouble, whatever the thing may be. You should not be able to go to a local judge and be like, hey, I had traffic. Again, some of these examples aren't real. You know what I'm talking about? Like some of them are just conversation sake, but you should not always be able to go to a judge to change the rule that you want. My parents have a 9 p.m. curfew. Sorry, went to court. They said because I'm 15, I can stay out till midnight.
I wish I thought of that when I was in high school. There's one thing we know to be true. It's that there's always something new happening in the world of college sports. So got to be sure to tune in to TexAgs Live tomorrow to see what happened overnight. Who knows?
Who knows? By the way, Nick, you had an update for me. I knew that Dana Brown and the Astros had parted ways, but you told me that also Joe Espada.
Yeah, they're gonna move on
too.
From Joe Espada after this season. His contract's due up at the end of the season. They gave him the option to either, be, I guess, not dismissed, but leave immediately or finish the season with the team. And they're going to let him. I guess he chose to finish out the season with the team. And it's crazy because we're all, as Astros fans, so spoiled because they've been so good for so long. They're still in a playoff. They could very well win their division, and they'll be barely above 500. They might tie the record for the worst record, if that makes sense, for a division winner. I think it's 82-80. They're on pace to do that. So I don't know. they're compared to the Astros that you covered, David. They're just so boring. They're just so stale. You know what I mean?
Look, I knew Joe a little bit. I wouldn't say I knew him well. He was not the manager when I covered the Astros. What was he, first base coach, I think it was? Whatever he was. He was great. And I thought
he's a bench coach.
Bench coach, there you go. I thought he was going to be great, right? He wasn't. And but it's funny, from RC to Fran to Dusty to Joe. People want legends to die sometimes, right? This guy, we got to move on. Not to die, but we got to move on from RC. No, you don't. Why am I yelling? No, you don't. You do not have to move on. And, I wasn't a huge Dusty guy. He was great. He won a World Series. Freak. He was great. I was more of an AJ Hinch guy because I loved AJ. Sometimes you don't have to move on from people who win.
Bring back Hinch and Jeff Luhnow. That's all I got to say.
It's been 15 years since Luhnow was a
Shouldn't have gotten rid of him in the first place.
I love Jeff. Jeff was great to me. All right. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you to all of our guests here on the program. Tomorrow on the show, I know that we got John Harris because it's Wednesday. I know we got other people, but I don't have it in front of me because I don't think about looking ahead. So just watch the show. It's usually good. Sometimes when I'm on it.